Mic check. Mic check. The special meeting is called back to order. Will the secretary please note that all members are present with the exception of member Para. The first item on the agenda is 3B, motion to adjourn executive session. Is there a motion to adjourn executive session? Is there a second? Motion has been made by member Austin and seconded by member Hernandez. All those in favor, please indicate by saying aye. All those opposed, please indicate by saying nay. Motion carries. We are adjourned. Executive session is adjourned. The regular meeting is called to order. Will the secretary please note that all board members are present with the exception of member Para. Please note that today's meeting is being live streamed. Also, please note that we have Spanish interpreting services available in the back of the room. Member Hernandez, will you please translate for me?
Yes, President Ross. Buenas tardes. Si necesita intérprete en español, favor de mirar a Joel, que se encuentra a un lado del cuarto. Gracias.
Thank you. The first item on the agenda is 1C, Pledge of Allegiance, and a moment of silence. Will everyone please stand while Member Oliver leads us in the Pledge of Allegiance and remain standing for a moment of silence. Thank you. The next item on the agenda is 1D, Land Acknowledgement Statement. Please remain seated as Board Member Marquez reads the PXU Land Acknowledgement Statement.
The Phoenix Union High School District is responsible for and committed to creating educational environments that prioritize the achievements of Native American students. We are committed to making their cultural identity visible by acknowledging that our district resides upon the ancestral lands of the original caretakers. The Huhukam, ancestors of the Akimeril Atham, Onk, Akimeril Atham, Thana Atham, and the Akchin. These sovereign nations are presently known as the Gila River Indian Community, Salt River Pima Maricopa Indian Community, the Thana Otham Nation, and the Akchin Indian Community. This formal acknowledgement is dedicated to the 22 sovereign nations of Arizona. PXU understands the importance of providing reparations through truth-telling. We recognize the historical injustices not traditionally taught in the classroom and are committed to practices prioritizing Native American knowledge, history, representation, and healing. We commit with an open mind to always respect the land, its histories, and its ancestors.
Thank you, Board Member. Central High School proudly presents their collection of student artwork from the Visual Arts Department. This includes artwork from ceramics, drawing, and painting, digital photography, and explorations of art. This display represents artwork from all course levels ranging from beginning through advanced placement. Central High School strives to teach the foundations of art, the methods and materials of the subject matter, while also guiding student artists to analyze the world around them. The goal of Central High School Visual Arts is to develop students who can take creative risks, understand the visual world culturally, and be able to create solutions through visual expression. Please enjoy Central's artistic works. The next item on the agenda is 2A, Recognitions and Accomplishments. Today we recognize and celebrate the significance of the month of November as Native American Heritage Month. This month and every day is a time for us to honor and appreciate the rich cultural heritage, contributions, and resilience of Native American peoples throughout history and in the present day. In tonight's recognition, we are especially proud to highlight the PXU Native American Youth Council from Betty Fairfax High School, Cesar Chavez High School, and Central High School, along with Ms. Franklin's, our district's Native American specialist. Join us in welcoming and expressing our gratitude for the Native American youth representatives who are leading the way in preserving their traditions, fostering unity, and creating a brighter future for us all. Our youth council presenters are Charlize King and Latrell Calamity from Betty Fairfax High School, Bianca Cordona from Cesar Chavez High School, and Tamira John and Vincent Ortiz from Central High School.
Yate, good evening, Superintendent Andrade, President Ross, governing board members, PXU leadership and staff, along with our attendees here in person and virtually. It is wonderful to see our students, their families, and the surrounding community here tonight. She'e Kelsey Franklin Yanishye, Trampahanishle, my dishkijni bashishchin, bit ahni dashache, do trahnazahni dashanale, kut audanel stanishle. Hello everyone, I am Kelsey Franklin and I just introduced myself in my native language. I come from the Dene Nation. I am from the Water's Edge clan, born for the Coyote Jemez clan. My maternal grandfather's clan is the Folded Arms people, and my paternal grandfather's clan is the Tangle clan. I am the Native American specialist for PXU this evening, and I am honored to introduce our Native American Youth Councils, who will be sharing not only the work that they have completed so far this school year, but more importantly, the impact that it has had on their personal lives. Our youth councils stem primarily from an organization called Unity, which stands for United National Indian Tribal Youth. Their mission is to build strong, unified, and self-reliant Native youth who are essentially our future leaders. More importantly, our PXU Native Youth Councils are an extension of this mission as they work together to create opportunities to promote cultural awareness, education, civic engagement, and unity within and surrounding their school communities. Please join me in welcoming our very own leaders of tomorrow, our PXU Native Youth Councils.
Hello. Oh, okay. Hey, good evening. My name is Latrell Calamity. I am Dene. I'm 17 and I attend Betty Fairfax High School. Today I'll be telling you guys my experience with Unity this past summer. So when I first arrived at Unity, it was a great experience. I get to see all these different types of tribes and cultures I've never seen before all over the United States. And I thought that was really amazing on how we can all be united over this conference and how we could speak to one another and learn about one another. Another thing that I also intrigued me was that over there they had this lady. So she would have this book, right? And then she would go across all over nations, all over the United States of America, to go to each and every individual tribe and learn about them and write about them in this book so that they could find, more awareness of it, because, there is a lot more that are not federally recognized out there. I really took inspiration from her of how she really did it. She took the time and effort and just went for it. She just really inspired me to do more for myself that I thought that I couldn't, But it really did just broaden my vision for what I want to do in the future, more so after graduation, One of the things that I want to do is really provide programs for Native Americans to how do I put this? Invest in their career for what they want. Because when I'm out there on the reservation, I know they don't have the same opportunity as me, so I would like them to have the same opportunity as what I have and give them they could have, so that they could see what I see and that we could, all grow as a tribe, not only just my tribe, I would like to do this for every other tribe because, we are all people, we all need to work together to help find a better place for this world. And that's what unity really inspired me to do. Thank you, guys.
Yat a she a Charlize King Yinishe. Torajini Nishla Sinijini Bashichi Kis Ani Kluga Dashite Bilagana Dashanella. I am from Chinle, Arizona. Hello, board. I am Charlize King and I'm a senior at Beatty Fairfax High School. I am part of the Native American Youth Council at Beatty Fairfax. The Native American Youth Council has helped me become aware of my community and my culture. I am also part of the Hoopa Learning Program, which has allowed me to earn college credit while attending high school. I aspire my fellow Native students to join these types of programs to better their future. I plan to major in marine biology at Cal Poly in California. The hoop of learning has prepared me for this path. PXU has given me opportunities to teach Navajo government in our school, which I am grateful for. I am happy to represent my school and my people. I look forward to all many things that the Phoenix District will do for the Native American students in the area. Thank you. Good night.
Yat she Bianca Nisha to Hananisha, Pima e Bashishan, Dilkani, Edishin, and Kaidashinella, Skukud and Exapan Takamio Shape Masma, Anianam Chegak Bianca Cardona. Good evening, everyone. My name is Bianca Cardona. I'm Akamil Atham from the Hill River Indian community, and I'm also Navajo. My mother clan is near the water, and my father's clan is the Pima clan. I am 18 years old, and I attend Cesar Chavez High School as a senior, and I am the current Miss Phoenix Union High School District for the 2022-2023 school year, and I am the current female president of the Cesar Chavez Native American Youth Council. I was invited to come here to talk about my experience with the Cesar Chavez Native American Youth Council and the United National Indian Tribal Youth Network, also known as Unity. I have been a part of the Cesar Chavez Native American Youth Council for 3 years now, and I have learned so much others from Indigenous peers that have since graduated. Within the Youth Council, I have learned traditional basket dancing, stories, and even some of the language. I never knew much of my O'odham side, and it was very much a blessing to learn from other peers and advisors. And the Youth Council also does community service for our communities. They teach leadership skills and teaches students how to network with others. With the affiliation of Unity, one of their goals is to empower Native youth and show them that if we work hard enough, that our Indigenous students deserve a seat at the table. To express what we believe in, what is right for us and others. Not only do we teach the importance of networking and leadership, but the importance of learning our culture and where we come from, because that is what our ancestors prayed for. And the youth will carry their culture and traditions to pass them on, and that is who we are as Native students. Ahia Sapo, thank you.
I want to preface this by saying, please excuse my congestion. It's a recent development. I'm sorry. Without further delay, Yat Eshidene Vicente Ortiz Yanishia Adone Nishlinigi A Nakaidene Nishlint Nakaidene Bashischin Chishe Dashiche and Nakaidene Dashinale. Tilke Nishlint Do Phoenix de Nasha. I would like to thank Mr. Yazi for helping me learn this Navajo introduction. It was a joy. I said, hello everyone, my name is Vicente Ortiz. I am of the Mexican clan, and I am a descendant of the Chiricahua Apache. I'm also mention that I'm from Phoenix. I was born and raised here. Now, with that out the way, I would like to thank everyone for being here tonight and giving us an opportunity to speak. And furthermore, I'm the co-president of the Native American Youth Council for Central High School. And I'm very grateful that I have this opportunity to learn more about my culture, and for everyone else to have this opportunity too. And additionally, I do feel obligated to mention my peers for not only providing a supportive community that also want to learn more about culture, but also for allowing me to get the chance to be co-president. An example of a meeting activity is how the other government officers and we discuss the idea with everyone else on how we can share our culture with the other students at Central. Even though they're not Native American, everybody can know. That's no crime. And our youth council, we plan to start organizing a conference to collaborate with all other Phoenix Union schools so that, thank you, excuse me. We want to collaborate with all Phoenix Union District schools. That way we can plan greater events. We can show everyone else more about our culture, no matter who we are, because not every Native is the same. And getting all the schools around can help us get a wider diversity of what we can share with others. But with that, I will let my wonderful co-president take over.
Yat Shiketo Shidina Eshe TJ John Dashijine Otlahit Nishlin Odona et Nishlinigi Aya Hona Ahni Nishlin Mai Dashkishni Bashashin Ashihe Dashache Tanezani Dashinale Akot Ego A Chiket Nishlin Hosdon Den Nashan. My name is TJ and I'm a sophomore in Central High and I'm a female co-president of Native American Youth Council. When I hear Central's Native American Youth Council, the word that comes to mind is resilience. Central High School is right next to the boarding school memorial where thousands of Native American children were ripped from their communities, had to endure forceful stripping of their culture. Our people are still here and we thrive and grown in number. Our students are very prideful and their parents are very prideful, you see before you. The Central Native American Youth Council has changed the narrative of what this street was known for. I would like to report that Central High School is showing incredible support to our Native American students. Currently, our youth council has over 63 students and continue to grow every week. The youth council at Central has provided many opportunities for us to connect with our communities, express pride in our cultures, and travel across country. Last year, three of our students went to the Unity Conference in Washington, D.C. Mark Tuchawina, Matoska Bigay, and myself. This really opened my eyes to see how I could continue to embrace my culture, educate myself, and help my community. Unity healed a part of me that I didn't know that I was missing. It was the part of me that people took away, and that was the connection of my people. When I went to Unity, I saw what real Indigenous pride looked like. Unity taught me the intergenerational trauma that I didn't know my family went through, and taught me how to be a leader, a person that people can look up to, and not stay silent when my voice is shut down. One of the most important aspects of being at Central High School is that we provide the Navajo language classes, U.S. history from Native Americans' perspectives, and the government classes. As female co-president of Central High School, I'm happy to see how much support we have and how we come together and strive with pride. We're still here. This is who we are. Ahiahat.
Thank you to our youth council members. Once again, we are so grateful that we, had some time set aside for our students to hear from them, their voices, their experiences, and the wonderful work that they're continuing to do in our schools. Our youth council network, we would like for that to continue growing. Obviously, you see nothing but great things to come of it, so we're very excited to, just continue that work in more schools than just these ones. So, as mentioned, thank you so much for your time and attention. Yeah.
Thank you all for presenting. That was very, very awesome. Board members, we're going to do a photo op, please. The next item is 3A, reports from student government. Tonight, we have student government representatives from Metro Tech, Coding, and Chavez. Our student government representatives this evening will highlight their schools in this order. Alexander and Fernando from Metro Tech, Kiara, I think that is, and Brian from Coding, and Liam from Chavez. Alexander and Fernandez, welcome. Will you please give us your report?
Testing. Okay. Good evening, everyone. My name is Alexander Icedo, and I am student body president reporting for Metro Tech.
And I am Fernanda Estrada, Vice President for Metro Tech.
So as far as for some of our clubs, our fashion club has opened up a Metro shop where some of the fashion CTE students have the opportunity to go thrifting. So we can create a shop for students who have stains on their clothes or students who spilled something or don't have rips in their clothes. So that way they are able to have clean clothes and feel welcomed everywhere. And then
And for the floral shop opens again successfully for its 8th annual anniversary, opening to the public, selling beautiful arrangements of bouquets, balloons, gifts, and more. Working together this year, they accumulated $65,000 for our school.
additionally, our student government and our FBLA has attended many leadership camps throughout the summer in order to provide that leadership on campus for us.
And FBLA collaborates with Copper Canyon by encouraging and helping our students by guiding them to learn more about money management.
For some of our community involvement, student government has attended many of our volleyball games in order to show support to our volleyball players. Additionally, for some community service, our student government's fan favorite community service is Feed My Starving Children, where we have packed over 200 boxes and fed 114 kids for a year.
And as for student government, Metro Tech Student Government hosted a welcome back assembly in honor of Hispanic Heritage Month and introducing our amazing fall sports teams.
And just to speak a little bit more on our fall assembly, we had our student government represent and speak a little bit about Hispanic Heritage Month to encourage all of our students to feel proud of their culture and to feel that they have a safe space to come to. And then for some updates, we had our homecoming this last Friday, where we had about 300 students come, and it was a fun space for everybody to kick off our school year. Additionally, for our period pack, we hosted a period pack where we created period packs such as menstrual products, and we placed them around campus so people who need feminine hygiene products have a safe space to grab them. And as we hosted last April a Make-A-Wish week where we raised almost $1,000 and we donated all the proceeds to Make-A-Wish Foundation. And we are hosting a canned food drive where we are getting all canned foods and donating it to Mary's Food Bank. Thank you. This is who we are.
Thank you.
Thank you both. You did a great job. Kira, I think I'm saying your name right. If I'm not, correct me at the microphone. And Brian, please provide your report.
Good evening, President Ross, governing board members, and Superintendent Andrade. My name is Kira Masmary, and I am the student body president of Phoenix Coding Academy.
And then Brian couldn't show up today, so I'm his filler. My name is Javier Osornio, and I'm the recorder of Phoenix Coding Academy 2023-2024 school year. This school has gotten off an amazing start for our specialty school filled with celebrations and events.
Phoenix Coding Academy has partnered with Kadelsky Security to provide an apprenticeship for coding students over the last 4 years. Two of their graduates, Naomi Calavero and Parker Horace, spoke in Washington, D.C. as part of the celebration by the U.S. Department of Labor and recognizing Kadelsky for their success with the European High School Apprenticeship Model to Phoenix Coding Academy. Recently, Kadelsky, alongside Arizona Governor Katie Hobbs, hosted a reception to celebrate the two of them being the first individuals to complete this apprenticeship program.
Congratulations to Naomi and Parker. We are so pleased to see our alumni accomplishing amazing things in college, career, and life post-Coding Academy in Phoenix Union.
On September 19th, we were honored to host Secretary of State Adrian Fontes as part of our National Voter Registration Day event. Secretary Fontes spoke on the importance of voting as part of our civic duty in a democratic society. Students were able to register to vote on the spot, with many expressing their excitement for this milestone event.
We were honored to receive a Future Shapers STEM grant of $15,000 from Honeywell and the Arizona Diamondbacks to purchase items for our creator space. Representatives from both organizations toured our campus, and we were excited to meet our students and see how generous donations benefit public education. Staff and students were honored on the field on the Saturday, September 30th home game, where we also took part in the STEM showcase.
Additionally, we have continued to promote school spirit involvement through campus-wide events like Club Rush, Spirit Weeks, our freshman orientation, a haunted homecoming dance, and with community business fundraisers. Thank you all for giving us your time to talk about our school. Thank you.
Thank you both. Liam, welcome to the microphone, the hot seat.
Good afternoon. Thank you again to Kiara and Javier. My name is Liam Lopez, and I am the student body representative of Cesar Chavez High School. As you can see by that amazing photo, that was senior day for our senior week, so don't worry. Yeah, senior citizen for being a senior. These are our fall sports. Cesar Chavez High School, our girls golf 2023. The CCHS Girls Golf 2023 PXU section champions for the 4th year in a row. State qualifiers also for the 3rd year in a row. Then we have our CCHS cross country. Congratulations to Eileen Romero for taking 1st place in the district championships, and our boys team placed in top 10 of the district championships. Next slide, please. And then our fall sports. CCHS Badminton. Before I get into it, I just want to give a nice shout out to my friend and region champion, Melissa Landa. Going on, our 2023 PXU section champions, PXU tournament champions for the 3rd year in a row, qualified for team state championships for the 2nd time in his school history. Next slide, please. Our Mecha Dia de los Muertos. Mecha created our 2nd annual ofrenda in the front of our school for Dia de los Muertos. Students and staff were able to add photos and items to commemorate lost loved ones, and I also had a part in this. Helped set up, I helped all around, giving around, also going around, asking for photos. It's a great way to show memories to our lost loved ones and keep their memory ongoing. Next slide, please. This is our CCHS Homecoming of 2023. Our homecoming theme was Mardi Gras this year. Really fun, it was amazing. As you see, our homecoming week, comfy day, tropical versus winter. It's a very, very wide variety of days we had for our Spirit Week. We had a successful homecoming and Spirit Week assembly of that week from 16th to the 21st. Accumulated in our homecoming dance with over 800 plus students at the Children's Museum of Phoenix on Saturday, October 21st. Next slide, please. And we had the honor of hosting our 2023 AASC Spirit Conference. For the 2nd time in school history, Cesar Chavez High School was chosen to host the annual Arizona Association of Student Councils Leadership Spirit Conference on Monday, August 28th. As you can see, our amazing principal, I know he's in attendance, Mr. Grant. It was overall a fun day. Everybody had a lot of fun getting to know about leadership, getting to know one another, and really coming together as one whole student government. We want to thank Superintendent Andrade for helping us welcome over 1,200 students, student leaders from around the state. Leaders came to the CCHS for a day of leadership, training, and motivational speaking and fun. You can see these amazing photos of our outfits, our representation for the Hispanic community. Mr. Grant, again, amazing. Yeah, thank you. At this time, we want to thank the governing board for giving us this time to directly report about the successes, activities, and opportunities they have offered the students of our schools. Have a good evening. Thank you.
Liam, you're a pro. We should switch spots. You want to come right here? Everyone, you all did a fabulous job tonight presenting and updating us, and we really appreciate when you update us about what's going on your campuses, so thank you very, very much. The next item is 3B, reports from employee organizations. Mr. Flemings, Ms. Jimenez, and Mr. Doughty. First up is Mr. Flemings, CTA President.
Good evening, President Ross, Superintendent Andrade, governing board members, community, staff in attendance here and virtually. Esteban Flemons, and I'm here as PXU CTA president, and I'm elated and electrified this month to be here to talk for the 1,000 members of CTA. Since our last meeting, we have continued as CTA to work collaboratively with the district in committee work. In particular, IBN has been working really hard and has gained significant traction in what we hope is going to be a respectable insurance and salary package that's going to attract not only educators, but classified and administrative staff to the district in the coming years. CTA members have also been working in the SOI, or Statement of Intent Committee, has met to talk about future course offerings that we will be having in the district to ensure that our students have the education that they deserve. And our Technology Committee, which is one that we've had but hasn't always met, is back up and running, looking at options on how to have technology work best for students and staff. So we're really excited that these are up and moving and making some decisions. Our committee has also been working with the district bell schedule, and we thank the board members who have made it out to campuses to experience what our current bell schedule is like and the effect that it's had not only on staff, but more importantly, our students. We have faith that a viable solution is soon to come from the district based on the survey that we did this week and the data that will come from that. For me, it's funny, we're in the 2nd of November, yet we're planning for the 24-25 school year already. Last weekend, we had our job fair to try to fill some of our open spots. And it was amazing watching the organization on all the campuses being represented. Even if they didn't have a spot to just show who we are at the job fair. But now we get to look at this coming Saturday being our expo to recruit our students for the next year. And I'm personally very excited. This will be the first time that I will be at the expo but not working at the North High School table recruiting for the IB program. Instead, I'll get to wander around and see all the presentations and the other campuses, so that's super exciting. And then lastly, I've been happy to be working with our talent department to look at our spring job fair for employees and working with them to ensure that we have representation there and we're bringing the best staff into the district. Our CTA Executive Board is particularly excited to be meeting with Ms. Andrade next week at our Executive Board meeting. So we're looking to have some wonderful food and have some real in-depth discussions about what we all can do to improve our district moving forward. And then last but not least, I want to talk a little bit about the fun that we've had. Last Saturday, we had our 2nd annual cornhole tournament at the Culinary Dropout. We had 12 teams compete in our tournament, 9 of them being from CTA. But we also, our administrative group was represented by a team. District administration had a team as well. And one of our sister unions from Paradise Valley had a team that came and represented as well. At the end of the day, Metro Tech High School did win the tournament, so they are tournament champions for the year. North High School, an offshoot of North High School, won our Best Costume Award, and the Most Spirited Award went to our team from Paradise Valley who showed up as Barbie themed, and just, we really appreciate them being there. So we've had great times to come. We are looking forward to doing additional work for our members and having opportunities for CTA members and their families to be part of our organization and our district. And we're looking to plan for our 3rd annual tournament next year. So hopefully we can see some board members next October, just throwing it out there. With all that said, I thank you all for listening to the stakeholders and the decisions. I know there's some big decisions on the plate tonight regarding safety, and I really appreciate just an open mind for all the people that will be here giving their 2 cents in public comment. And thank you all. And also, we really look forward to the superintendent search process and being part of those decisions and those conversations. CTA is always here with an open ear. So with that, thank you all very much, and looking forward to a speedy meeting tonight. Thank you.
Ms. Jimenez.
All right, thank you. Good evening, Governing Board, Phoenix Union Community, President Ross, Superintendent Andrade. I have a relatively brief report this evening, but I do have some topics I'd like to bring up. I like to start with celebrations or things on a good note, but one big one we had was our most recent Super PD Saturday, which was held on October 21st. It was another huge success, and it was rolled out in new content, both in English and Spanish. So I know the team is still refining some of the content to develop it in a way that our ESPs can relate and engage in the work. So I just wanted to give a huge thank you and shout out to our teaching and learning department, Mr. Camp, Dr. Wagner, Ms. Jimenez, and Mr. Jenkins, all the ESP facilitators, and those who helped make that day possible, including Ms. Gwen Lee, Ms. Dina Williams, and Mr. Butte. Mr. Flemons touched on some of the topics I was going to go over, so I'll kind of make mine a bit more brief. But he talked about IBN, and so with IBN, we continue to meet. Our subcommittees are well underway with their charges, and so I'm excited for some of the communications that will be coming out in the next few weeks. The team has been working hard to navigate some of the complexities of our economy to make the most of our resources in these trying times. So more to come with that, and thank you to our IBN teams, our ADA, CTA, my CEA team, district leadership, and for the continued collaboration. The next event CEA was able to be a part of was the job fair. So that was held Saturday, October 28th at Central High School. And so I don't believe I've been involved in a fall job fair before, but it was definitely different than what I'm used to versus the spring. So I think a lot of work definitely went behind that event to make it a success. However, I do think that there's room for growth and an opportunity for some of our ESP-heavy departments in the future. So I'm looking forward to working with talent to ensure that we use this opportunity to capture more potential ESPs in our district. Some more CEA updates I have, and it's just a continuation of things that I've talked about last month. One of those being our site visits. And so this past month, I was able to visit with Trevor Brown and to meet our food service staff out there, a lot of our safety staff, and just to be able to meet them, service them, give them some information, resources, CEA swag. And essentially, we actually rolled out our new CEA shirts. And so hopefully soon you'll start to be able to see new CEA blues around the district. And it was also an opportunity for me to kick off my one-on-ones and my cognitive coaching skills that I've learned to have one-on-ones with our site leaders. And so my goal is to continue to hold those one-on-ones and to build that relationship with our site leaders, because they are the ones that are on our sites and letting me know of the concerns that they're seeing on their campuses. And so I want to be able to build that relationship and give them more resources and tools, and to better develop myself as a leader as well as them for the association. So that's really all I have tonight. So I thank you for the time you give me and the associations, and we look forward to working with all of you in the near future. So thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Doherty, ADA President.
Good evening, President Ross, members of the board, Superintendent Andrade, and Phoenix Union community. I also have a short report tonight. So repeating some of the things we've heard, IBN is cruising along, and we're excited about some of the announcements that might be coming out pretty soon. And the work that's going on there. It's been a collaborative bunch, and we're making progress. Also, I'd like to thank Mr. Juvenal Lopez for his service as the facilitator. In the absence of an outside facilitator, he is giving of his time to keep us all going down the road together. And that's a challenging job, and we thank you for your service on that. School letter grades. Recently came out, and so we were excited about that. I don't want to get into the minutia because there might be another report coming up somewhere, but we're excited about the direction of that and the results that we saw, and continuing to work on improving those grades over time. Also, our culture and climate surveys, noticing some trends in there, and would like to just call out the marks for the various employee groups, faculty, staff, admin. seeing positive trends there and some high numbers, and we look forward to further analysis of that and a deeper dive to see how we can continue to improve and keep that area strong because we need those strong relationships with our communities, our families, our students. Acadec coming up soon. It'll be hosted at Maryvale, and so we hope you can make it out to see part of that, or I don't know if you're allowed to participate, but be out there for that. We're looking forward to it. We have many administrators participating and volunteering, and also teachers and other staff, and we invite the community to sign up to help judge the process and let our kids have a great experience on that. Recruitment and enrollment efforts are well underway, and the assistant principals of achievement, the APAs, and their counseling teams are working hard to reach out with our districts, feeder districts, and charters as well, going out to their recruitment nights and representing and making sure that PXU's face is out there and connecting with people. And then, of course, our expo, we're excited about that coming up. And that's a great opportunity to let people see who we are, and it's a fun one, too. And then my final topic would be back to the safety gates tonight. So just a continued message that we are ready and willing and excited to implement a pilot program to that as you consider this, and when you're ready to make that decision, we hope to be able to implement those and start using that as another layer of safety on our campuses. And then for everyone, next Tuesday, remember to vote. Thank you.
The next item on the agenda is 4A, calls to the public. Presentations tonight are limited to a maximum of 90 seconds. That's a minute and a half. According to ARS 38-431.01H, at the conclusion of the call to the public, members of the public body may respond to criticism made by those who address the public body, may ask the staff to review a matter, or may ask that a matter be put on a future agenda. However, members may not discuss or take legal action on matters raised during an open call to the public unless the matters are properly noticed for discussion and legal action. I would like to caution members of the audience about commenting on a particular individual and to thank you for not referring to any person by name. Tonight, we have the option of members of the public to participate in person and virtually. We will start with our speakers who registered online. In order to avoid any concerns with interpretation services, please be aware of the following. We have a Spanish interpreter available to join you at the podium while you address the governing board. Only the PXU assigned interpreter will provide interpretation services. If you have a script on paper or on a device, we ask that you make it available for the interpreter. In order to provide accurate interpreting, we ask that you speak for approximately 2 to 3 sentences at a time and pause for the interpreter. You will be giving double the amount of time to address the governing board as a result. As usual, we ask that you end your comments when your official time allotment has ended. Member Hernandez, will you interpret for me, please?
Of course, President Ross. Para evitar dificultades con los servicios de intérprete, tenga en cuenta lo siguiente. Tenemos un intérprete en español disponible para acompañarlo mientras se dirige a la mesa directiva. Solo el intérprete asignado por el distrito proveerá servicios de interpretación. Si tiene su mensaje en papel o electrónicamente, le pedimos que lo ponga a disposición del intérprete. Para brindar una interpretación precisa, le pedimos que hable aproximadamente 2 a 3 oraciones a la vez y haga una pausa para el intérprete. Como resultado, se le da el doble de tiempo para dirigirse a la mesa directiva. Como de costumbre, le pedimos que finalice sus comentarios cuando termine su tiempo asignado. Gracias por su cooperación.
Thank you. We have 8 requests to speak virtually. Please state your name and indicate the agenda item or topic you wish to speak about, and limit your presentation to 90 seconds, a minute and a half. Our first caller is Michelle Ruiz. Please provide your comment. Michelle, can you hear us? Michelle, you have the floor.
My name is Michelle Reese. I'm an alumni from Central High School and community member. I'm here today to talk about the metal detectors the school board is proposing. I'm speaking on behalf of students I work with. It's really concerning me that the school is even considering um, adding this horrible pilot program that's expensive and it's going to criminalize students in our schools. I really do believe that these metal detectors, even with adding a logo, is not going to make it less prison-like. Adding to this to our schools is only losing trust from our students, making them feel like criminals. I remember when I used to go to Central High School, getting yelled at right away in school for forgetting my ID. So I couldn't imagine like even having another layer of metal detectors. I see that one of the goals is to add more family involvement, students, and putting them in process of the safety. But I think a different way that we could do this is having more safe spaces in our schools and more trusted adults to talk to them about student safety, um, about guns, safety, around weapons, on like why is that a problem in the first place in our schools, and having discussions in our schools about that and not adding these metal detectors that's not going to prevent the root cause of why students are bringing.
Our next speaker is Melina. Alina, you have the floor. Melina, you have the floor.
Alumni from Metro Tech High School. And I'm here to request that the board to not vote to vote no on the metal detectors. It has been proven in other districts that they are ineffective and they don't actually we don't actually see the root cause, addresses the root cause, and it elevates the fear that there's violence in a campus. Right, we're going to be creating in like a prison-like environment instead of providing a safe place for students. We have seen in other districts where they do have metal detectors that weapons still go undetected. Um, Also, the funding that is being used for this is for the actual safety of students. So like to help them, right? Because a lot of them lost time because they were online. And instead of helping them get caught up with that, we're investing it in metal detectors. Finally, I think we can work on this together. Just like I want to thank you all for having the budget 101 with our students, for the community as well. And so I think doing more trainings like those where we can work together, I think we can really prioritize student safety. And we look forward for the budget 102 in the future. So thank you for hearing me.
Isis, do we have Isis online? Isis, you have the floor. Isis, you have the floor.
Member. I thank you all for your effort and energy into all of the items that are happening to our schools and children. I am commenting on item 8B in regards to the weapon detection pilot program. While I appreciate what we are trying to do to ensure the safety of all those involved, I don't agree with the idea of trying to push an advanced weapon detection system that is untested, unproven version of metal detectors, knowing that metal detectors themselves have already shown to be really ineffective. In some districts throughout the nation, we've had false alarms on metal detectors up to 32%. And we know for the fact, even if we had the best system, which Evolve is the one that you all are looking into, and claim as they would be able to detect all weapons, we know for a fact that claim is not correct. We've seen that they don't detect small weapons such as knives and pocket knives. But at the end of the day, the reality is this doesn't speak to the core issue, which is a lot of social issues that are having to plague our children. And I wish that we could take a step back from this type of ideology and perspective to try to see if there's anything that we could be proactive for as opposed to reactionary to a lot of the attacks that are happening to our children and faculty on campuses. Thank you all.
Noemi? No? Carla? Okay, we're ready for her. Carla, you have the floor.
That also go to Maryville High School. But I'm requesting that you do not cast your vote in favor of weapon detection in schools. This is because it indicates that the students are currently being pointed and targeted by criminal attention. I believe that our lovely community schools are now starting to look more and more like prisons because of these weapon detections. And I believe instead of putting money into those weapon detections, we should put and invest in more in helping the students in more clubs and more events and things for the students that need help. Thank you.
For our callers, if you're calling from a landline or, as we used to say when I was younger, a house phone, press *6 to unmute yourself. Do we have Jaden? And he's unmuted. She? Yes, okay. Jaden, you have the floor.
First, I'd like to thank the board for providing a more student-friendly budget one-on-one meeting and providing our students a better understanding of how our school works. With that being said, I'm here to comment on agenda item 8B. Now that we have a better understanding of how the budget works, I wanted to point out how really important student retention is. You get your budget from keeping students in schools, yet you want to implement metal detectors. These detectors have been proven time and time again to be ineffective and does nothing but slow down students and criminalize them. We have been making it makes them late and more likely to lose vital class time. And once they reach a certain amount of tardies or absences, they are more likely to drop out classes or out of school altogether. I think it's very important to keep students in schools and not in a hostile policing methods that don't even work. Much like in a situation that I was in myself, where I ended up dropping out of school because of these policing methods. Thank you.
Do we have Miguel? Miguel, if you can unmute. Maybe *6. Okay. Miguel, you have the floor.
Buenas noches. Estoy llamando para implorarle que voten que sí para los detectores de armas. Soy papá y miembro de la comunidad. Sí, estoy hablando.
Sí.
Yes, sí, lo podemos escuchar. ¿Puedes seguir hablando? Sí, lo estamos escuchando. Está en silencio, se tiene que quitar del silencio en su teléfono.
¿Que me escuchan bien ahora?
Sí, sí, lo podemos escuchar.
Ok, buenas noches. Estoy llamando para implorarles que voten que sí para los detectores de armas en las escuelas. Soy papá y miembro de la comunidad. Nuestros estudiantes y maestros y directores merecen una escuela segura. Ustedes tienen la responsabilidad y deben poner...
Sí, sí, lo podemos escuchar.
Ok, buenas noches. Estoy llamando para... La responsabilidad y deben poner el detector de armas para prevenir una tragedia en las escuelas. La seguridad de las escuelas cae en sus hombros. Por favor, voten que sí para que podamos tener estudiantes y maestros seguros en las escuelas. Gracias.
Good evening. I'm a father, and I would like to ask the board to vote in favor of the metal detectors. I'm a father, and I'm a member of the community. We need to be able to provide safe schools, and you have the responsibility, and you need to act and approve these metal detectors. We need to provide security for our students and for our teachers. This responsibility is on your shoulders.
Thank you for interpreting. The last one I have is Viviana Jimenez. Do we have her? Viviana, will you press *6? Okay, you're good. Okay, Viviana, you have the floor.
Hi, I'm calling to ask you to approve for the weapon detectors for Bostrom and Maryville High School. I'm a former student, and the only way that we could prevent weapons from being on campus is to check for them. Please think of our students and employees because they have families to go home to, and you have a responsibility to keep our schools gun-free. Please vote yes. Thank you.
Thank you. That is the conclusion of our online speakers. I will now pass it to Clerk Napa for our blue cards.
Thank you, President Ross. We have a bunch of blue cards. Please state your name, indicate the agenda item or topic you wish to speak about, and limit your presentation to 90 seconds, 1.5 minutes. We have student speakers up first. Guy Kyle, followed by Desiree Menchaca Payas and Namurai Key.
Good evening. My name is Ekia. I'm a freshman at Central, and I'm very thrilled to be in an Asian Study Club. I'm Kren, meaning I belong to an ethnic group from Burma. Kren people are from Burma and had to migrate to Korea, and then from there, many fortunate people like me were able to migrate to the United States. Being in the United States, I had to adapt. I had to fit in, and after many years, I still didn't feel like myself or my history. This year in the Asian Study Club, I learned that Phoenix Union offered USA history from the Native Africans and Chicanos perspective. Our club sponsor, Ms. Chacon, told us that Asian and Pacific Islander communities have an incredible influence in American history, and I'm here to respectfully request that Phoenix Union also begin to offer a class in USA history from the Asian, American, and Pacific Island perspective. Please note that people like me would really benefit from finding a identity, community, and acknowledgement in our classroom. Board members, thank you for listening, and I really appreciate your time.
Superintendent Andrade, will you look into that, please? Thank you.
Desiree Menchaca Payas.
Good evening, honorable board members, Superintendent Andrade, Phoenix Union principals, and community members. My name is Desiree Menchaca Payas. I am in the Asian Studies Club as the treasurer, and I am here to respectfully request that you institute and urge the U.S. history from the Asian American and Pacific Islander perspective. Board members, as current American social study classes stand, little to none of the Asian American experience is ever shared in our classrooms. While some social studies teachers teach about Japanese internment camps, but that's about it. We never get to learn about the incredible people like Larry Leong, the American Manong Filipino worker who actually started the United Farm Workers. Please note that without Larry Leong, there would be no Cesar Chavez. We never get to learn about Yuri Kochiyama, a Japanese American civil rights activist who was actually present and gave Malcolm X mouth-to-mouth resuscitation when he was assassinated. We also don't learn about Mary Tape, the Chinese American who in 1884, at the age of 8 years old, sued her school district and desegregated San Francisco schools. Please note that this was 70 years before Brown versus Board. I am in the Asian Studies Club, so I've had the opportunity to learn these histories and believe every student deserves this opportunity and choice to learn from Asian American and Pacific Islanders' perspectives as much.
Thank you. Namaraja Key.
Good evening, honored board members. My name is Murasaki. I've come today to ask for U.S. history from Asian American perspective. Phoenix Union welcomes students of all backgrounds However, I've noticed that the populations of Asians in our schools is very low. Specifically from Central, only around 90 to 100 students are Asians out of a population of nearly 2,000. Incorporating Asian studies into students' lives will make our district more inclusive for students and teachers, as well as providing students with opportunities to get in touch with their cultures. While there may not be a lot of us at Phoenix Union, Asian countries and communities have made a change. We are 59% of the global population and speak over 7,000 linguistic dialects. Asian communities have also made an impact on our stomachs, allowing us to savor wide dishes all over the world. On 17th Avenue alone, there are over 5 Vietnamese restaurants that you must try. Please help us to learn more about ourselves, our histories, and the Asian American people who have made important contributions to our history. Thank you for listening.
Irene Diaz, followed by Freddie Mayor Bauer.
Thank you. I'm going to talk about the superintendent search. President Ross, governing board members, Superintendent Andrade. I'm Irene Diaz, a Phoenix Union graduate, resident, and administrator. I'm also a community leader. Our community would like to be given an update on the superintendent search at each board meeting. Our community and stakeholders want our input heard. We cannot allow what happened during the last superintendent search to happen again. At that time, the board suddenly cut off the search while hopeful applicants for the position were in the audience during the board meeting. We later learned from the past superintendent that the board had already asked him to be the superintendent. With this search, we want more transparency, much more transparency. The Phoenix Union community needs to be heard. We need to ensure we hire a superintendent who will not continue the purported favoritism and cronyism that harms many of our staff members. These practices make it appear that Phoenix Union does not value its current highly experienced, talented, qualified, and dedicated staff. Because of that, I also asked the board to conduct a board study session to review our current employment practices. Excuse me. When our highly regarded community leaders met with the past superintendent's cabinet on this topic, their concerns were ignored and not addressed. That cannot happen again. Thank you.
Freddie Malane. Malana, thank you.
Apologize to Ms. Napa for my horrible handwriting. My sincere apologies for that. So I want to piggyback off of something that Mr. Flemons and Mr. Doherty said. So first, Mr. Flemons, he said, we would love to see the board members. And then Mr. Doherty said, at the Phoenix Union Academic Decathlon Scrimmage. So please, if you have the time, in about 2 weeks, come on like a Friday, interview some kids, right? They're kids from your guys' wards, right? Great experience, lovely students, and yeah, hopefully we see all of you guys there. Thank you.
Mr. Freddie, it's already on my calendar. Thank you so much for the invite. Elena Adams, followed by Lorenzo Cabrera Franklin. Elena?
While she's coming to the mic, I do the trophies. I did them last year and I'll do them again this year. So the board's participating.
Evening. My name is Dr. Elena Adams, alumna of PXU and current principal for Phoenix Educator Preparatory. I'm here tonight to speak about item 8B. As a PXU student who traveled to both South Mountain and Alhambra high schools on foot, I experienced safety issues daily within my community just to get to school. I often had to protect myself in creative ways to stay safe, and I always felt safe on our school campuses. As an adult who now works in PXU to support my community, I have a car now, and I still feel safe on our campuses. But there are more sophisticated guns in our world now, more civil unrest, and an ever-growing need for mental health support, and just kindness in general. We need more educators to bring about the change we desire to see in our world, and our nation is experiencing a debilitating educator shortage. It is becoming increasingly difficult to recruit and retain future educators when they are worried about violence from our communities continually spilling into the sacred learning spaces of our schools. Weapon detection systems are not ideal, but they are a deterring place to start while we craft solutions alongside our community members. I carry with me today the voices of future educators. They want safer schools. Please support this pilot, study the data, and continue these conversations. Thank you.
Lorenzo Cabrera Franklin, followed by Vanessa Casillas.
Good evening, President Ross, Superintendent Andrade, and members of the board. My name is Lorenzo Cabrera, and I'm the proud principal of Franklin Police and Fire High School. As principal, I'm entrusted with the health and safety of every person who walks on our campus, from the newborn baby that a mom brings to campus along with their 4-year-old son to pick up her daughter. I'm responsible for that family safety. And the abuelito and the abuelita who come to pick up their grandchild, I too am responsible for their safety. As principal, I promise my families that their sons and daughters will be safe while in my care. As principal, I promise my families that they will be safe while on my campus. As principal, I promise you, the board, and the community that you will be safe while on my campus. This evening, you're not voting on a machine. You're voting on a promise to keep everyone safe. And with that promise, we are entrusted to ensure all of our beautiful students, staff, families feel safe while on campus. I'm asking the board to help me and my colleagues with our promise of safety by voting yes on the weapons detection systems. Tonight, your yes vote is a yes vote for our promise of safety to our students. Tonight, your yes vote is a yes vote to our promise of safety to our families. Tonight, your yes vote is a yes vote to a promise of safety to our staff and our community. Tonight, your yes vote matters.
Vanessa Casillas, followed by Monique Mulgrew.
Good evening, Superintendent Andrade, President Ross, and the members of the board. I'm Vanessa Casillas, principal of North High School and proud alumni of Phoenix Union. And I'm here to speak to you today in regards to item 8B, the Advanced Weapon Detection Pilot Program. I'm asking that you vote yes on allowing us to begin the pilot program for the Advanced Weapons Detection System. The suggestion was previously made that the Advanced Weapons Detection System is going to criminalize our students. However, I would like to give you an alternative viewpoint. We go through weapons detection systems when we attend sporting events and when we are traveling through airports, among other places. We are not being criminalized by going through these weapons detection systems. This is a layer of safety that is being put in place to help the community. Placing weapons detection systems on our campus will support our students and our community by adding another layer of safety to the campus. The purpose is to deter people from coming onto our campus with weapons such as a gun or a knife. This does not mean that we are criminalizing our students or guests. Instead, we want to ensure that our campuses are safe. There will be a well thought out communication plan to inform families. These will be installed so we will not surprise the community. Please vote yes to allow us to pilot the advanced weapons detection system so we can focus more on inspiring students to go places and do things that matter. Thank you.
Monique Mogro, followed by Lance Long.
Hello, board members, Superintendent Andrade, community members. I'm Monique Mogro, a 25-year veteran of Metro Tech High School. Many of my colleagues have come to me with concerns about the proposed bell schedule changes. Tonight, we will celebrate Metro Tech achieving a very good state rating to match our third time A+ School of Excellence Awards, a result of years of dedication, people in this room that worked along with us, examining data, collaborative teaming, and commitment to creating rich learning experiences with the limited resources we have. One of those was effective management of our time. Our AB block schedule was in place for many, many years before COVID hit and had significantly enhanced our learning opportunities. Through it, our academic classes designed high-level labs, project-based lessons, Socratic seminars, testing practice, and immersive experience to balance the successful blocks of our CTE. If block schedules of other schools have issues, and they do, allow them to make the adjustments that their students need. However, we know that Metro Tech attracts students because we offer unique learning opportunities with daily CTE and weekly academic blocks. Some of our portfolio of schools have been exempt from the bell schedule changes, and I believe that we should be exempt too. As we champion equity, it's opposite of a one-size-fits-all. It's about giving the students in front of you exactly what they need to achieve. Collaboratively, the Metro Tech staff is committed to making us a successful school of choice. Based on our proven success and awards, we request autonomy to choose the bell schedule that fits our long.
Thank you. Lance Long, followed by Jake Lumbet.
My name is Lance Long. I'm a teacher in the district. At the last board meeting, 2 statements were made that had me shaking my head in disbelief. Now, I have significantly toned down, as you can see, what I was going to say, lest I set your hair on fire. But the first statement was that having metal detectors at schools would criminalize students. Metal detectors are routine at sporting events, as already been mentioned, public buildings, airports. Every one of the 150,000 people who attended the unfortunate Diamondbacks games recently had to pass through metal detectors. Why is it suddenly a problem at a school to provide safety at a school when we provide safety at a ballpark? The other statement made was that students must carry weapons to protect themselves on the way to and from school. Therefore, we should not use metal detectors to deprive them of their weapons. The clarification was made that it would be weapons other than guns, but do you seriously think it would not become guns? Maybe we should have lockers in which children can deposit their weapons upon arrival and pick them up again when school is out. This is astonishing that such a statement was made. If you are going to permit kids to bring weapons to school, then I want to bring my gun to school to protect me from them. But you would fire me in a hot second if I did that, wouldn't you? And yet you are encouraging, or at least you seem to be encouraging, students to bring weapons to school. With the environment you are creating, it is inevitable that we are heading for trouble in this district. And when that happens, you will have hands that are crimson with the blood of those who are killed. So I urge you, please be wise in your decisions.
Jake Lumbet, followed by Miranda Wilfert.
Good evening, President Ross, Clerk Napa, Superintendent Andrade, Phoenix Union Governing Board. My name's Jacob Lambert. I'm the proud principal of Central High School. I have very bad handwriting. I'm here to speak on item 9B, but before I do so, I wanted to give a special shout out to my amazing students and families and staff that are listening and tuning in. We'll be sharing some positive news a little bit later. But throughout this school year at our campus, and I'm sure all other campuses, We've gone through multiple safety and lockdown drills and non-drills. We have tested our communication systems. We've tested our communication platforms. We've done that during I-days. We've done that on our weekends. We've done that when there's no staff on campus, no students on campus. We constantly revisit safety protocols with our staff in all staff meetings. We ask that our ILs review those. We talk to our students about lockdown procedures, the importance of seeing something, saying something. We do everything that we possibly can to make sure that students are safe on our campus at all times. As principal, it's my responsibility to make sure we are doing everything that we can and that all of our students make it home. My ask is that we as a district make that same commitment, my hope is that we recommend the Advanced Weapon Detection Pilot Program so that we can try and renew our commitment number 5 in our 10 commitments of district strategic plan commitment.
Miranda Wolfert, followed by Karen Gardner.
My name is Miranda Wilfer. I am a mom. I am completely out of my element here and as nervous as I'll get out. But I am here for my students. I have a graduate from Camelback and I have 2 girls attending currently. We just finished an amazing volleyball season, but it was during one of those practices that my girls have never experienced something like they did at a practice between the basketball coach and the volleyball coach. And we've been asking for a very long time about the girls' soccer coach. I know that there were at least 2 applicants, but it wasn't until the end of last week, and soccer starts this week, that the teacher that was offered the job accepted it. He didn't apply. And now our JV team is at risk of not being there because he's scrambling to find a coach. I know that there are 70 girls that are trying out for soccer and interested in soccer, and my husband and I will do whatever we can to help this program move forward, but I need help. These girls, some of them do not have parents that come or family that come to the game, and that's where I'm in my element, is supporting these kids on the sideline. And so that's why I'm here tonight, is to help build our athletic department. Scrambling last second is not who we are. Thank you.
Karen Gardner, followed by Luke Black.
Good evening, President Ross, Governing Board, and Superintendent Andretti. I'm here this evening to address the fallacy that AP courses are not effective and are seen as courses that don't measure academic growth. In the last board meeting, AP was brokered as a transactional exchange that shortchanged our students. I raise objection to this. I teach an AP class, and it's an extremely rigorous class. In fact, I was placed in that position because I was expected to challenge students at the next level and ensure that they were able to compete with their counterparts at the universities. If you take away this opportunity, you take away equity. You take away the idea that our kids at Phoenix Union can and do excel at different things, and that teachers like me cannot challenge them and make this something that's positive for them. Do you realize that when you say you don't need AP, you're saying that you're willing to undercut STEM? Because when students take those classes, if they score a 1 or a 2, it is more than a transaction. It is cementing their growth academically. It is cementing their growth in who they are. They come to compete. We have students from Maryville who are at Stanford, okay? They went through the AP program. I'm intent to bringing them here next time. I'm running out of time, so they can speak for themselves. Thank you.
Luke Black, followed by Dr. Jody Weber.
Good evening, board and administrative team. I'm here to ask you to vote no on the metal detectors. Pretty much all the data that has been collected in districts across the country for decades says that this doesn't work. I can think of a dozen ways to get a gun on campus that go around detectors, including just passing it over a fence. The metal detectors will lead to criminalization. This will happen at Maryville and Bostrom, and it will happen because of the mandatory reporting requirements that the district is required to abide by. Y'all should also educate your principals and your teachers about mandatory requirements and how that leads to criminalization. Y'all are proposing to test no other samples to measure actual effectiveness. The time frame is way too short for any sort of accurate results. Y'all don't actually show how metal detectors will accomplish any of your stated goals. In fact, finding guns isn't even one of your stated goals, which is wild given that this proposal is the result of guns on campus. In my opinion, y'all are in a corner. Guns are a problem. There's pressure to solve this fast, but this isn't it. It doesn't address a single root cause that actually causes a student to bring a gun to campus, and metal detectors are so easy to get around. This will waste time and money and will bring back inconclusive results and will cost our kids going to jail. Please vote no on metal detectors. Y'all need to admit we have a problem and hire professionals who can come in and find.
Thank you. Dr. Jody Weber. Followed by Kevin Trejo Rodriguez.
Good evening, President Ross, members of the board, Superintendent Andrade, PXU colleagues, and community members. I'm Dr. Jody Weber, proud principal of Alhambra High School, and would like to add to the discussion of 8B the possibility of bringing Open Gate to campuses. I'm confident that while we may have differing ideas on some issues, that the safety and well-being of our students are non-negotiable priorities for all of us. Of course, there is no single initiative or piece of equipment that will promise collective safety in our schools. However, Open Gate could be a critical layer and a more comprehensive system to address the increasing concerns about safety. I was grateful to be able to visit other schools who have implemented Open Gate. I was able to speak to parents and to students. Frankly, I expected at least some negative feedback. However, overwhelmingly, parents and students shared that they felt more safe and secure. I've had to have more than a few conversations with staff members about the fact that they feel as though we as a district need to do more. In fact, while we speak about teacher shortages and staff retention, just last week a teacher shared with me that he's considering leaving the district to work in a neighboring district that has been more responsive to staff safety concerns, especially when we consider that surrounding districts have moved to implementing weapon detection systems. We cannot ignore trends or our positionality in the area. By having these detectors at the entrance, we can identify and address issues before they escalate into more significant problems, and in continued preventative fashion, we can discourage impulsive, harmful decisions. I'm cognizant of, and frankly, not only am I.
Thank you. Kevin Trejo Rodriguez, followed by Jacob Greenberg.
Buenas noches, soy madre de familia, tengo mi hijo en la Mayville y tengo otra niña en la Harris. Entonces yo vengo que sí aprueben los detectores de metales. Yo tengo poco aquí. Cuando tuve a mi niña, entró a la casa. Perdón, a la Harris. Me hablan a mí por teléfono que se había metido una persona. Bueno, gracias que no pasó nada, ¿no? Porque el policía ahí, todos se pusieron en acción. Y después me hablan, ahora hace poco, de la Mayville, que era un muchacho armado. Entonces, a mí me da tanta tristeza ahorita los comentarios que estoy escuchando. La seguridad es de nuestros jóvenes. El futuro, es el futuro. Entonces, está en sus manos y en todo lo que está pasando. A mí la verdad Me da mucha tristeza porque todo es importante lo que se dijo aquí, lo que escuché. Pero también deben de pensar en los padres de familia, en los jóvenes, en los niños, los maestros, el personal, todos. Son vidas que están ahí. No sé cómo Estados Unidos tiene una calidad de vida, de todo, pero digo yo en seguridad, en la escuela, en las escuelas. ¿Cómo va a ser posible eso? ¿Eh? A mí me gusta este país, todo, pero veo tantas cosas. Soy voluntaria en la escuela Harris.
Disculpe.
Y me metí por lo mismo. Por lo
Disculpe,
mismo,
señora.
y digo a los padres que necesitan apoyo, porque los maestros y padres de familia somos un equipo. Ustedes también son un equipo.
¿Nos puede, por favor, permitir un tiempo para que traduzca, por favor? Muchas gracias.
Good evening. I'm a mother. I have a daughter in Harris and a son in Maryville. And recently, I got a call from my daughter from Harris saying there was this person, but fortunately, she called her uncle and the police intervened and everything was okay. Later on, I found out through my son that there was an armed person at school. After what I've heard, the presentations, is really sad to hear everything that is being said. We need to be responsible for the security of our children. We are responsible for all of them. It's really sad to hear all the comments that have been said. Everything that has been said here is important, but we are responsible for the security. I cannot understand how in this country, with the quality of life there is here, we have this security issues. I like everything here. I participate actively in the community.
Gracias, es mi petición, que yo les pido que, por favor, reflexionen. Son la cabeza.
Muchas gracias. Ya terminó su tiempo. Muchas gracias.
And my request is for you to vote in favor of this, for you to reflect. You are the head of all of this. Thank you.
Jacob Greenberg, followed by Miguel Ontiveros.
I'm gonna ask that you guys keep these down for the And again, good evening, and if you wouldn't mind just keeping those face down until I direct you. I understand it's part of my time, that's okay. I'm here tonight to discuss safety and weapons. I'm gonna ask that you keep those face down just one more time for emphasis, and you can consider this my hook for those of us with a teaching background. Coral Hayden is a place that I really like, a place where I've truly enjoyed working for 7 years, but we've got a big problem with safety. Our problem with safety is not unique to us, it's not caused by us, but we're responsible for it. Guns and weapons have become an undeniable problem at Hayden. In our special education department alone, we've had 3 families remove their kids this year after telling us that their child was threatened by another student with a gun. It's not hyperbolic to say that we have an emergency. When each of us was a kid, a child with a gun was an emergency. Okay. Tonight, I'm advocating for a return in this district to viewing guns and weapons as emergencies, as they were once upon a time. Please refer to the page in front of you. I've had a dream a lot of this semester where I'm at a beach. This shark that you see terrorizing these unsuspecting people, in my dream, is us at school, but guns that we cannot see. And that's how.
Thank you. Miguel Ontiveros, followed by James Empt.
Good evening. My name is Miguel Antiveros. I'm the Student Prevention Intervention Specialist at Carl Hayden. I'm sorry? Okay. I'm also a Carl Hayden alum. Today I'm here to actually celebrate our students and our staff. Letter grades went out. Word B, I'm so proud of my students. Like, they are doing great. I don't think they hear that enough. We come here and we just talk about safety, but we don't ever talk about their achievement. They're doing great. They need to hear that. So if you ever come to our school, please stop by, celebrate with us. Today we had Student of the Month. They were having Sundays, stopped by really quick, gave them all high fives, and it was just so much fun. Again, our teachers, they're doing great things. It's been hard work. I mean, we went up to a B, so I'm super excited, and I'm just here to celebrate that with everybody publicly. Thank you.
James Empt.
Doesn't go any higher. Good evening, Governing Board, President Ross, Clerk Napa, Superintendent Andrade. My name is James Arndt. I'm the very proud principal of Camelback High School, I'm okay, where our students speak over 30 languages and represent countries from around the world, and we love and support them every single day. I'm here to speak on 8B because, unfortunately, we also had a number of firearms on our campus last year. It's no secret that there's a prevalence of weapons in our neighborhoods, and that is so sad. And so I urge you to consider and approve the use of these weapon detection systems in a pilot status for two reasons, really. One, the first is most obvious. It is likely to reduce the chance of violence on our schools, which on its own merit should be just enough. But the second reason is that you know when a student comes to campus with a weapon, they face a long-term suspension and an expulsion. And so if these weapon detection systems can help deter that choice, can help make a young teenager think twice before they put something in their backpack or their pocket or anywhere else, and prevent them from facing an expulsion and really ruining their educational career, then this weapon detection system is worth it. It can save lives, not just from physical harm, but save lives from terrible choices. I remind you that the failure at the national level is making perfection the enemy of progress, and so I tell you, something is always better than nothing. Please approve these weapon detection systems.
The next item is 5A, approval of the consent agenda. Is there a Is there a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented? Is there a second? There's a motion been made by Member Austin, seconded by Member Oliver. Any discussion, Mr. Marquez?
Yes. So it's not a discussion to pull the item. I just want to highlight one of the items. Can I pull it then? Okay, I'll pull item 10I, the action to approve the MOU for A for Arizona. That item is pulled, I guess. But before we...
You're pulling 10I?
10I, yes.
Yes, ma'am.
So let's go ahead with the motion on the floor for all, if you'll modify your motion.
Yes, ma'am.
And then we can go ahead and discuss that item.
Yes.
Can I just have one more comment before we do that? On public comment, I was hoping before we moved on, we could ask the superintendent to look into the soccer coaching issue that was raised during public comment.
Thank you.
So.
Approval of the consent agenda without item 10I. Do I have a, do I just do the, can she? Yeah. Member Austin, do you accept approving the consent agenda with the removal of 10I? And do you still second? Yes. Okay, so we have a motion by Member Austin and a second by Member Oliver. All those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed, please indicate by saying nay. The consent agenda passes. Mr. Marquez, you have the floor for 10I.
Sure. Yeah, I wasn't the intention to pull this formally, but just really wanted to thank everybody that worked on 10I. This is a $1.7 million grant from A for Arizona to help us partner with Cartwright School District to expand our electric school bus fleet. which should specifically provide infrastructure at Trevor Brown High School. So I just want to say thank you to everybody that did this. I hope to see more of this. I assume the funds from A for Arizona are coming as part of the Federal Inflation Reduction Act and the bipartisan infrastructure law. I hope we can apply for as much as these types of funds as we can to move us towards a larger electric school bus fleet in our school district, and thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Marquez. Is there a motion to approve item 10I?
So moved.
Is there a second? A motion's been made by Member Marquez and seconded by Member Oliver. All those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed, please indicate by saying nay. 10I passes or carries. The next item is 6A, Superintendent Report. Ms. Andrade, please share your great news that everyone tried to steal from you today.
All right, let's get started here. We gave a little shout out to the visual arts at the start of the board meeting, and I want to give it out now for the performing arts. On 10/21, over 100 students from across Phoenix Union and our partner districts, Alhambra, Cartwright, Creighton, Levine, and Phoenix Elementary, gathered for a choir festival at Camelback, followed up on 10/23 by a dance festival with nearly 200 dancers from across Phoenix Union, also at Camelback. And on 11/1, we had a marching band expo. Betty Fairfax was gracious enough to host the marching band, where they had opportunities to perform and share music with each other and with the community, with over 350 players on the field. Countless hours of rehearsal and hard work in preparation for these events. I just want to give a shout out and a thanks to our performing arts teachers, our talented students. We are so proud of you, and we are looking forward to the Choir Expo on December 4th. Students from across multiple Phoenix Union campuses showed up on October 22nd and represented Phoenix Union's core values in the annual City of Phoenix Pride Parade. This is the first time that we had multiple campuses marching together. I just want to thank you to the staff that support and sponsor our GSA members. We look forward to an even larger crowd next year. As you heard earlier, on 10/28, Phoenix Union hosted a job fair at Central High School. 12 candidates from the math and sciences to exceptional student services were recommended for hire. Thank you for all the schools for showing up and working that day, as well as our talent division for organizing and welcoming our new employees. In partnership with the City of Phoenix, our Phoenix Union students are now officers leading sustainability efforts on their individual campuses. On October 30th, our campuses took home the following awards in the Every Drop Counts Challenge from 22-23. Congratulations to Franklin with first place and Bio at second place. Those are for small schools. And North took home first place and Maryville second place for our large comprehensive campuses. This year's theme is zero waste, and I expect all campuses to bring it. November is nationally recognized Native American Heritage Month. We celebrate this month and every day the cultures, traditions, and contributions of our Indigenous people. I want to personally thank and acknowledge our Native American advisors, our program specialists, and our amazing students and sponsors who were able to share with us tonight. Monday kicks off National School Psychology Week. I want to go ahead and pause and recognize our amazing Phoenix Union psychologists as extremely valued members of our team. Their expertise in mental health, behavior, learning, it all helps our students to be successful, and we absolutely couldn't do this work without their expertise. We know you have choices, so thank you for serving in our communities. This Saturday is our Student Expo, where staff and students gather at Phoenix College to market, recruit, register incoming 9th graders for the 24-25 school year. 8th graders have an opportunity to shop our portfolio. It's a little bit of a draft pick going on, experience our culture, and even see some student performances and have some fun. I look forward to seeing everyone there. I want to encourage our community, if you haven't already, to vote and participate in the November 7th upcoming election. Our building just next door at 4520 North Central is a ballot drop for those of you that are nearby, and there are several other spots across our footprint. I recently read that voting is the primary language of a democracy, so let's get out there and let your voice be heard. On November 15th, Phoenix Union celebrates National Educator Support Professional Day. Our ESPs keep our schools running. They ensure every child is safe, learning, eating, arriving, achieving at high levels, ready to learn. And I'll tell you, we couldn't do this work without our ESPs. I want you to know you are seen, you are valued, and you are loved. And you are vital members of the Phoenix Union community. Thank you and enjoy lots of food and goodies on November 15th. One of my favorite events is coming up on November 16th. Each year, we dedicate an evening to honor and celebrate the various years of service our employees give to Phoenix Union. It serves as a reminder of how strong and dedicated our staff is to our community. I'm always just amazed at how many years of service so many of our teachers and our staff give. I'm looking forward to celebrating these employees later this month. On Monday, we kick off and launch our annual turkey drive. Turkeys and gift cards are accepted at Central High School's cafeteria, food services over on 7th Street, or even the Carl Hayden Resource Center. Please join me in ensuring our families in need have a holiday meal. The countdown to the opening of federal student aid is on. Applications open December 1st. Last year, we were able to improve our FAFSA rates and continue to strive to reach those pre-COVID levels. I want to go ahead and commend the work happening at Betty Fairfax High School especially, but also across the district for the FAFSA and college-going culture. They have improved every year since 2021 with intentional efforts, and they serve to remind us of what is possible when community effort, time, and expertise come together for our students. This month marks the beginning of the season of giving. Valley Sun United Way is launching the Mighty Change 2026 to improve efforts around housing, education, and workforce across Maricopa County. VSUW is a valued partner that serves so many of our students and families and community. Last year, we raised $10,316, and the goal this year is $20,000. Bold. Donations are tax deductible, and like school tax credit, may be reimbursed directly back to you in part or full. So let's help with making a mighty change in Maricopa County. Employee groups will receive 2 additional payments as 2023 closes out. The first will arrive on November 21st for the performance-based pay from the 22-23 school year. And the second payment, which is part 1 of a 2-part payment, will be the retention pay. All employees will see $750 deposited on December 5th, and the remaining part 2, $1,250, will be scheduled for February 2024. Congratulations, do not spend it all in one place. Trevor Brown joins forces with the Sun Devils. Each academy has 10th grade representatives teaming up with ASU to learn collaboration skills, identity, and to generate ideas that will push project-based learning to the next level in the classroom. On October 20th, this cohort traveled to ASU, met with the experts, had an opportunity to ask questions, learn about internships, job opportunities, the different pathways that ASU has, and how they could each reach their dream job. The Student Bill of Rights is underway. Approximately 1/3 of our student body responded to our survey, as well as over 2,000 parents and staff. The next stage moves on to student focus groups. Approximately 125 students from across the district have been selected and have volunteered, in a sense, to serve and represent their communities in this work. Work sessions are scheduled to begin in November, and we are very hopeful to have a product to bring back to the board in January. Phoenix Union is gone digital with GoFan. We have officially partnered with GoFan, allowing ticketless, contact-free purchases to be made for our community using merely an app. Schools can use this app for any fee-based activities beyond sports, such as a dance. We're hopeful that this will make a difference. Oh, this is one of my favorites here. Almost 2 years ago, Dr. Julio Rubio had a vision that was brought to our executive team for a dual language program at Carl Hayden. And after completing a lot of due diligence, research, and feedback, and planning, I'm excited to share that he is ready, the team is ready for the 24-25 launch of this opportunity at Hayden. We hope this program attracts students wishing to continue in dual programs to the district and increases student outcomes. The program will begin with a 9th grade focus next year and build up every year thereafter. Thank you to the board for your support, for the team at Hayden and Dr. Rubio for your vision. We look forward to your continued success. Next Friday, schools across Phoenix Union will close in honor of Veterans Day. We want to take a moment to thank our veterans who served and for those actively serving in our armed forces every day. I also want to recognize those who gave their lives for our country. The countless sacrifices made by these men and women and their families is honorable and selfless. On behalf of Phoenix Union, a special thanks to Member Oliver and Member Marquez, as well as all who have served for our country. Thank you.
And now, Ms. Andrade for, yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
As everybody knows, voting is very important to me. If you have not mailed your ballot already for this upcoming election on November 7th, it's too late. You can go to Maricopa County and find drop boxes. You have to take it to a drop box to make it get there on time. You can go to elections.maricopa.gov/voting/where to vote. That's where you need to go. It's too late to drop it in the mail. Do not drop it in the mail.
Can I say something?
The next item, presentations on state achievement labels. Ms. Andrade.
All right. Good evening, President Ross, members of the board and community. In July of 2023, we launched a bold theme, Making History, to remind our community of the amazing accomplishments of our students, our staff, and our schools. Also there to serve to inspire our students and staff of what is possible. Tonight, another accomplishment joins that rank in the history of letter grades. As a prior Chief Achievement Officer, I have to commend the work of our Teaching and Learning Division, of our principals, our coaches, our teachers on assignment, our classroom teachers, our counselors, our ESPs. I could go on and on for all of these improvements because it takes everyone. And while we still have so far to go, we are headed in that right direction. And so sharing more details on this tonight, our Chief Achievement Officer, Ms. Laura Tejas.
Well, thank you, Ms. Andrade. Good evening, President Ross, governing board members, Superintendent Andrade, and our Phoenix Union community. Tonight, we will share an overview of the preliminary data for our state letter grades. During our presentation, we'll review some of the information shared during the governing board retreat. We are excited to share our celebrations, opportunities for improvement, and our next steps. There we go. We will begin with a quick overview and review of state letter grades. They're made up by category and what percentage of both our traditional and our alternative school models. As you follow along on the pie chart with me, starting with blue for proficiency, you may recall that we discussed the state's use of the junior year ACT data as an assessment tool for this purpose. This makes up 30% of a school's grade. Green is for growth and is 20% of the total score. Newly updated for this year, the state is looking at subgroup improvement. You may recall from the retreat, we discussed that within our data, different populations are looked at more closely. In a moment, we're going to give you more details about this category. Yellow represents language learners and is 10% of the pie. We will discuss this group and how points are awarded shortly. Red is for graduation grades. Right out of that just cohort for students, you might remember we talked about when students enter high school that they're assigned a graduation date or a cohort. This makes up 20% of the overall letter grade. Purple, from our recent retreat, you might remember the variety of items that make up our college and career readiness indicators, including dual enrollment, CTE courses, and FAFSA completion rates. This is an area where we really shine as a district, and it makes up 20% of the letter grade. For alternative schools, it looks very similar to traditional schools. I would like to spend just a moment focusing on growth to graduation. It's just a little bit different for this group of schools. Students are still assigned a cohort, but the points awarded to this population looks different because sometimes there's reasons that students need to take a little longer to graduate. Specifically, growth to graduation is made up in 3 areas. And to summarize very quickly, persistence. So students are re-enrolling post-COVID and graduating by October 1st. Secondly, on track. This is a group of students who need 3 credits or less and can graduate within the year. And finally, credits earned. Are students earning credits at a rate that will allow them to graduate in a timely manner? So let's take a look in a little bit more detail at each of these areas. So if you'll follow along, I'm going to start up with the blue. You might recall from our retreat about achievement, we discussed that there are the certain exams that the state uses to look at accountability and assign letter grades. These 2 exams are the junior year ACT performance and the multi-state alternative assessment that our ESS students take. A secondary indicator in this area is that we have to test 95% of our students enrolled. Green for growth. At the retreat, we discussed the use of subgroups, or as you asked us to call them, disaggregated groups. This indicator compares one cohort to another cohort by disaggregated group to see if they are increasing in proficiency. This changed for this current school year. Keep in mind that the class of 2024 has not been state assessed for the purposes of labels since 7th grade because of COVID. Yellow, our language learning population is evaluated using the Arizona English Language Assessment, or AZELA. The criteria you see on the screen is how students are growing or improving or meeting the state-established language benchmarks for language proficiency, and how they reclassify or move to a different level of language instruction and support. We're going to take a look at this group a little bit more closely. Red, with graduation, remember that the cohort is assigned when the student enters the 9th grade. Students and schools get the most point when the students graduate within 4 years. However, you can see that we also get credit for 5, 6, and 7-year graduates. Lastly, purple, college and career readiness indicators. You might remember when we discussed this at our retreat. These indicators are when seniors are doing and leaving when they go to college and when they go to career-related items. We also get to be assigned bonus points. You can see that the categories are in the upper right-hand corner on the slide. I'd like to mention one of the disaggregated groups that qualify for bonus points, and those are our special education students. When schools have a certain percentage in comparison to statewide averages, we can earn bonus points, 1, 1.5, or 2 points. You'll also see that we receive additional CCRI or credit college readiness points based on post-secondary enrollment as well as enlistment in the military, and that can add up to a bonus point. So not to be the spoiler alert, because you heard some of that earlier, but wow, take a look at where we landed. We are so very proud of our schools. You can see that all of our schools received A, B, or C letter grades. You can go ahead and clap, that's exciting. So joining bioscience and coding as A schools this year are Franklin and Metro Tech. Huge shout out to Bio. You guys knocked it out of the park with your bonus points, and you earned 107 out of 100 points. coding, you're catching up. You've got 98.2 out of 100 points. We also increased the number of B schools, welcoming Central, Carl Hayden, and Bostrom this year. And board members, if you take a look at that chart, our specialty schools are getting it done. Are we ready for the district's overall letter grade? We are a B. And although we were a B last year, I'd like to say we're actually a B plus. I know the state doesn't consider that, but we are moving the needle. Congratulations to our campus leaders, our collaborative teams, our PLCs, our teachers, and our students, as well as our content specialists and curriculum teams. Your hard work is really producing results. So let's take a look at where we've been historically. You will notice that we began our chart in 2017. You will note the majority of our schools at that time were in the C category. You also see the number of schools that we had in 2017 in comparison to now. In 2018, we welcomed 3 new schools to our letter grades with the first graduating cohorts, but we didn't have significant gains in terms of letter grades. In 2019, we moved to 18 schools, but at that time, digital and coding weren't really counted yet because they didn't have full cohorts of students. That's the reason you only seen 16 added up on the chart, and yet we saw gains. Then COVID hit, and the state paused on letter grades. But in Phoenix Union, we dug in on how to best address learning loss, continue to produce college career-ready life graduates in a post-pandemic world. You see, in 2022, we continue to show steady progress and increase in school achievement, and none of our schools were Ds. This year, again, we see a steady increase in achievement, doubling the number of A schools, and a total of 5 schools moving to the next highest letter grade. I'd like to turn our attention now to the college and career readiness focus. You will recall from the retreat on achievement that this is really an area of strength for Phoenix Union. The little purple arrow that you see there is to remind you that this category is 20% of the overall measurement in the state letter grade. The total maximum number of points that can be earned in this area is 20. 4 of our campus earned all of their points. Congratulations to Metro Tech, Franklin, Bioscience, and Coding. We also have campuses that showed significant improvement. Shout out to Central with a 9% increase, Fairfax with an 11% increase, and look at Camelback, a 16% increase. We're not done. I gotta say something about our alt schools. Their career point total is actually 35. Congratulations to Phoenix Digital with an 11% increase, Linda Abril with a 20% increase. Both of these schools earned almost all of their points. Digital with 33.7 and Linda Abril with 34.7. One more. Bostrom, they had an impressive 23% increase in their points, earning all 35 points. Go Bulldogs. So let's talk about going to college. You might remember from our retreat that we talked about completion of financial aid or FAFSA paperwork and the push that we make just to try and eliminate that barrier for our students and families. And you heard from Ms. Andrade tonight that we're already working with our families. So when the portal opens, we are ready to go. We saw significant increases in completion rates, and while we're not ready to bite off quite what we were pre-COVID, we are making progress. So congratulations to Camelback with 57% completion rates, Central with 52%, Fairfax, as mentioned earlier, 57%, and Metro Tech, Lookout, exceeding 60%. Dual enrollment is an excellent way for our students to get a taste of college while earning college credits at a significantly reduced rate. This year, 10 of our campuses increased the number of students participating in dual enrollment classes. Both Alhambra and North increased by 6%. Metro Tech by 10%, Camelback by 20%, and coding by 24%. Finally, we know that not all of our students will choose college, or some of them may opt for an opportunity to do both college and career in some way. We saw an increase in the number of technical education industry-recognized certifications being earned by our students. Both North and Fairfax increased students earning an additional 35 certifications this past year. Central saw an increase of 60, and Maryville, a very impressive 100 more students earning industry certifications. Congratulations to our students, teachers, and counselors. Yeah, let's give it up. Give them a hand. There we go. You'll see the yellow arrow. This is for our English language learning students. As a district, we serve more than 80 different home languages in our diverse population. Whether or not a campus is evaluated on the basis of this measure really is determined by the size of the population that they serve. There are two ways that students can and campuses can ultimately move on the needle here. The first is how many students are reclassifying or making gains in proficiency or the command of the English language. The second is growth and proficiency in language development. Each category is worth 5 points. We are pleased that all of our schools earned 6 or more points. Stars in this category include Central, Cesar Chavez, Franklin, and Metro Tech, all of whom earned full 10 points. Close behind are Betty Fairfax, Linda Abril, Maryville, and Trevor Brown, earning 9 of 10 points. And finally, 3 campuses earned 8 of 10 points, academies at South Mountain, Camelback, and Wilson. This work is challenging. Our teachers are amazing at growing our students. It really takes 5 to 7 years to really fully learn a language, and we're getting it done really well. All right, what are some celebrations? Well, graduation rate is improving at our campuses. Carl Hayden, shout out to you, increased to almost 72%. Central to 70%, and Metro Tech continues to maintain high grad rate at or above 98%. Specialty schools, bio, coding, and Franklin, you continue to graduate at or above 97%. As previously discussed, our schools are rocking the college and career readiness indicators. Proficiency is measured on ACT during that junior year. Bioscience, 2.2 increase in proficiency. Franklin, 5.6 increase in proficiency. Metro Tech, 4.1, and Coding Academy, 2.2. Other schools that had recognizable gains, Trevor Brown, Camelback, Carl Hayden, academies at South Mountain, and Alhambra. And yet we have opportunities to continue to grow and improve ourselves. We have work to do. You'll notice 3 areas that we've identified more specifically. First, we want to continue to work to align our curriculum and standards to the ACT benchmarks to ensure that students receive instruction, skill development, and experiences that they'll also see on the ACT. We also want to use our data from the freshman and sophomore year's ACT-aligned exams to make adjustments for both large groups of students as well as individual students. You might remember at our board retreat, we talked about we assess for learning, the farm to table example, because we want to grow our students. Graduation is the ultimate goal for our students and families. We want to get back as quickly as possible to those pre-pandemic rates and then continue to move the needle. Lastly, we will look at our groups identified with our disaggregated data because we want to grow students' proficiency through this lens as well. So what does it mean for our day-to-day work? 2 years ago, we started a guiding coalition and curriculum teams on a path to create a guaranteed and viable curriculum for our teachers to use. With this comes the identification of essential standards that create quality students for every student district-wide. This means we commit to every student receiving instruction on those standards with the goal of proficiency in each of them. As we continue to provide time and resources for our collaborative teams or professional learning communities to unpack their data around essential standards and best practices, our students will continue to show increases in proficiency. Board, you'll remember that we talked about the need to assess for learning so we can tell where students are getting it and where students are struggling. This is why we are using NWEA and the aligned assessments to the ACT standards. We want to grow our students, and this tool allows us to do it in real time, down to the teacher and down to the individual student. I'll close with this. We will continue to focus on assessment for learning and ensure that it is aligned to the college and career ready standards and building structures to support teachers and students. As we do this, we will naturally see the results in the state achievement levels. I want to say thank you to the team that helped me put everything together, because this is a lot of data to try and unpack and make it digestible for such a quick format, particularly to Mr. Camp and to Dr. Madah for that. Thank you to our district level curriculum and tech teams. We've made big changes in what we teach and how we collect and how we share the data. Most of all, congratulations to you, our campus leaders, to our teachers, and to our students. And with that, we'll open it up for questions and comments.
Thank you for that report. Board members, do you have questions or comments? Mr. Marquez.
I just want to say great job to the executive team, Superintendent Andrade, and especially to all the teachers and principals on the campuses making this happen. Certainly the first time since I've been a board member that we've been ranked overall as a B. I think my question or comment and request would be similar to my request at our last board meeting, is that hopefully in December we can have some sort of a mid-year budget meeting, but I'd like to see it sort of combined with the academic team to sort of look at what happened between 2019 to 2022 and now 2023, where we had D schools and now we don't, and what happened on those particular campuses, financial investments that the district made that worked and which ones didn't make, so we can have sort of a mid-year budget review to see if there's any interventions that we want to take this year financially to make sure that next year we're continuing to move in this positive direction of more A schools and more B schools and less C schools. But thank you and great job to everybody.
Members, any other questions or comments? Thank you, Ms. Sayas, for that report. Item 8B, discussion of advanced weapon detection system pilot program with potential approval of the interlocal purchasing system RFP number 230105 for technological solutions, products, and services. Tonight, our Chief Achievement Officer, Ms. Tejas, and our Safety Executive Director, Mr. Kaur. Why don't I know how to say your last name? I realize I always only call you by your first name. I apologize.
It's okay. It's Mr. Correa.
Correa will walk us through the pilot proposal for PXU. Ms. Tejas.
Well, good evening again. President Ross, members of the governing board, Superintendent Andrade, and the Phoenix Union community. Tonight, we're looking forward to sharing more about our proposal for next steps in our shared work to create and maintain safe schools and work environments. As we develop the right balance of safety and support given the myriad of societal challenges, I want to note that although we'll be talking about layers of safety, one of which is a proposed weapons detection unit, we recognize that the perceptions that may come with this. I want to reassure our community that we have no desire to criminalize our students in any way. We are hoping to provide access to the same level of protections that many of our sister districts already have in place. We do recognize in today's climate, a multifaceted approach to school and workplace safety is needed. We believe an increased layered approach to safety will offer support in a different way. PXU has made infrastructure investments like fencing, front office and entrance redesign, and upgrades and expansion of life safety systems. On this slide, you'll note our theory of change, or our hypothesis. Weapon detections would be another layer of infrastructure to serve as a deterrent. As an illustration, think of exterior as a protective deterrent, like the shell on your favorite nut or fruit. I like pineapples, just as an example. The exterior is prickly and it's hard to access. The interior of the pineapple is amazing and such a delicious treat. Our schools need layers to deter unwelcome behaviors to allow us to do amazing things with our students in terms of learning, supports, services, and interventions. Our pilot has 3 goals. First goal, we're hoping to proactively prevent incidents from occurring on campus. Secondly, we believe that when students and staff feel safe, that attendance rates will improve. And goal 3, we know that safety involves perceptions. We are currently surveying our community to learn more anecdotally and to gather their perceptions about safety, and we'll talk a little bit more about this shortly. During the proposed pilot, we will be placing detection units at gates or access points to our campus or main entrances. Many of you in the audience had the opportunity to see and maybe even experiment a little with the sample sets. They're not obtrusive and they're not cumbersome. We are looking to use best practices from others who are currently using this system, as well as learning some of our own. If this pilot is approved, we would begin procurement and staff training as soon as second quarter. We would like to pilot at 2 schools, a large campus, Maryvale, and a smaller campus, Bostrom. Mr. Correa will be talking about this a little bit more in terms of the logistics shortly. We've launched safety surveys at 5 campuses to gather some pre and post data, and we anticipate that we will have the post data in time for third quarter. We're hoping to use that data to compare perceptions at schools that have the detection systems and schools that don't. In total, we anticipate between ordering the equipment, training staff on the equipment, meeting with our parents and our families, and the collection of the data, that the pilot would run between 9 and 12 weeks. And speaking of data, here's an example of the data that we would like to collect. It's important to know that the units themselves do not collect any personal identifiable information. The data we want to use is listed on the slide. We hope to compare what we collect during the pilot period to the 3 goals previously discussed. We will look at campus data, in other words, Maryvale this year in comparison to Maryvale in previous years, and Boston, the same thing. And then we'll compare school data during the pilot to a sister site that's a like school, for example, Maryvale to Trevor Brown. And now I'd like to turn the presentation over to Mr. Claudio Correa, Executive Director for Safety, to talk a little bit more about the logistics.
Good evening. Thank you so much. Thank you, Ms. Tejas. As we implement a new program or a new system, we know that training and communication is key. And so part of our planning in this new pilot program is to have effective training for our campus safety leaders, also our campus administrators. The training is provided, will be provided by experts in these units and these systems, so that our administrators and our safety teams have the capacity and the training to properly, effectively implement these systems. We also are committed to supporting our staff so that they have an overview and a deep understanding of what the expectations are, what the systems are, what the procedures are, so that they have a level of comfort and understanding in these new systems and approach, but also supporting students as they navigate through this new system and new procedures. We also want to focus in on our students to make sure that they're comfortable. They understand the process, they understand the procedures, and have ample opportunity to explore these new systems. We especially want to focus in on our ESS students, our ELL students. We know that certain students need additional support, additional attention, and so we envision an opportunity to specifically walk through these systems with students, ESS students, with their teachers. They know their students well, and they're going to assist in the process of making sure that our students feel comfortable, they feel safe. Changes to their daily procedures can be challenging, and so we understand that and we'll work with that. Not just our students and our staff, but also our families. It's important that our families are familiar with these systems, know the purpose behind them, the procedures. So I think as families, we have a right to know what are the systems of safety in place at the school. And not only that, but we can, as families, talk to our students about that, talk through any concerns and share the benefits and the purpose behind them. We want to do this through parent meetings. I'll talk about this a little bit more, through parent meetings where families can come together at the campus level at those pilot schools so they can learn about them. We'll have an opportunity to do it in English and Spanish and any other languages that are important. Our staff are key in this training and overview, so we'll have staff meetings, both our teachers and our education support professionals, so that they can also have that deep understanding. And then speaking of communication, we have developed a robust communication plan. It's essential that all students and all staff have an awareness of these systems, the procedures. We do know surprises are good. People like surprises, but not in implementing these systems. So we want to make sure that our students are very clear and our staff are very clear about these expectations. So in this case, surprises are not good. And so we will communicate throughout before we implement this process and also throughout the implementation process. We will communicate English and Spanish and any other languages that are necessary to make sure that we provide that access and understanding to all of our families. Again, staff will have the opportunity for staff, during staff meetings, they'll understand the systems, the process procedures. We'll have videos available to our staff, our families, our community. So should we have parent meetings and families cannot attend, staff meetings and a staff member misses that, they'll have access to videos, to communication links and so forth. Links will be available. We'll also share an array of ways to communicate this out through Student View, Parent View, School Messenger, Microsoft Teams, Remind, social media apps, whatever it takes. We will make sure that before we implement this, our students, our families, our staff are fully aware and are not surprised by this. So we look forward to this. And then finally, how will we pay for this pilot program? We intend to use one-time funding for this project. Again, we will rent this equipment as part of the pilot program. We intend to rent about 8 or 9 units. We want to make sure we have ample units available for our campuses who are conducting this pilot. If we choose in the future to purchase these systems, these weapons detection systems, they cost around $17,000 a set. And then once the pilot is complete, we will analyze the data. Then we will develop a presentation and then a recommendation to the governing board. So with that, I turn it over for discussion and next steps.
Members, do you have any questions or comments? Member Hernandez.
Thank you, President Ross. I have a few questions, actually. Do you want me to just throw them out or one by one?
Might depend on how complicated they are. We'll give it a go the first round, and if I need you to slow down, I'll let you know.
Okay, so just throw them at you. Okay, I'll go slow. So the first one, I saw it on here already, but I just want to be clear if we can have just clear timeline on the pilot phase, how long that will take, how long the data analysis phase will take, and then when we will get the presentation of the findings. So kind of just laying out those 12 weeks. The next question is, can you please tell us what goes into a quick bag check? Does the district need the student's consent for that? And then, what happens if a student continues to set off the metal detectors even after a bag check? That's happened to me once, and I'm like, I don't have anything. So, yeah, what happens then if they just keep setting off the metal detectors, and even though they're clear, what happens then? I saw that we're going to be communicating to parents and families. Thank you so much for laying that out. I have the question, will those meetings be for invite only to like those parents, or are they open to other family members if maybe the parents can't attend? And then I saw that we're going to be doing via School Messenger, Student View, Parent View, Microsoft Teams, Remind, and social media. Can we include maybe a call or a letter sent to the families? Because I know sometimes there's like my mom, she doesn't really know how to use the internet, so I think sometimes that can go over their heads. And then lastly, just looking back at the goals, I know metal detectors are just a tool, and as a tool, we know that metal detectors can't help us accomplish all our goals that we have set, the 3 goals that we have set. So I just want to continue to push us to think about alternatives, right? What happens after this if this is adapted? How are we going to change as a district? How are we changing our behaviors and how we think about prioritizing students? Metal detectors don't always make us safer, but what can we change in our safety practices among staff, among teachers, among students, in addition to metal detectors? And those are all my questions. If you need me to repeat anything, I will.
I'm writing fast and furious, so I'm hoping I caught them all.
I'll back you up too.
Okay, I got backup over here, so I think I'm good. Okay, I'm going to start with a clear timeline. So you're right, we spoke pretty generally because we're not sure exactly how long each step of that process is going to take. So I think as long as we get some additional details, we're more than happy to share that out with the board, and we'll figure out what the most appropriate way to do that, and we might even be able to provide an update on that at the December board meeting. In terms of bag checks, the intent really is not to have to check every bag. I just want to be clear about that. So if you're walking through and you don't set it off, we don't have a concern, right? I'll also speak to, as my own experience as a high school student, because I played an instrument, and hauling that around was an experience, and I imagine it would probably set off a detector, right? So we'll figure out what that process is to be able to pass it around. We'll probably still need to take a quick peek in it just because they're large cases. So we'll learn a lot more, but the intent is not to have to check every kiddo's bag because that would take a really long time. What happens if if the student sets it off repeatedly? I've also had that unfortunate experience at the airport. It's a little bit embarrassing and uncomfortable. So we'll obviously work with that student in a private setting just to kind of figure out maybe what's going on in that case. In regards to meeting being open to other family members, I don't think we have a desire not to share information. So we'll work with our families and our communities to make sure that we're able to be inclusive of everyone that wants to come and listen to the message that's being shared. Call out to families versus internet. My mom also struggles, so I feel your pain. In that regard, school messenger, maybe we should have made that more clear because that is actually what dials out to our families. So when we use that term, that's robocall, or that's the message that's going out via telephone, at least the numbers that we have on file. And then thank you for continuing to push us. Yes, we need to look at alternatives. Again, we're looking at a deterrent to prevent things from happening in the first place so that we can continue to offer a variety of services. Some of which you approved tonight on consent agenda to make sure that we're providing those wraparound supports and really getting at root causes for behaviors for kiddos. Mr. Correa, I don't know if you wanted to add anything.
Got it.
Oh, yay for me.
Thank you, members. Any other questions or comments?
I got a question, if that's okay, Madam President.
Mm-hmm.
Mr. Correa, the presentation shows the budget at $1,500 a month for 8 metal detectors for 12 weeks. Unless I'm probably bad at math because I didn't take a lot of math, but I think that's like $36,000 for the pilot. But we're being asked to approve $150,000 for the pilot. I'm curious what's the plan for the remainder of that up to $150,000?
President Ross, Member Marquez, the idea is to have that flexibility in the budget should, you all approve maybe an expenditure, just to have that flexibility in the budget.
And I'd like to add that training costs money. So if we're having somebody come out and train, we want to be able to have money set aside to have a trainer come and work with us. And there's also maybe some infrastructure costs. We might need to be able to add something because of I don't know, that needs a plug-in for a battery that is something we don't normally have. So we're just trying to plan that we can address training costs and infrastructure in addition to the rental.
Members, questions, comments, motions?
I have another comment.
Yes.
And this is more for the board to discuss. I think I share, the opinion of some of the public comment that was shared tonight that there, the research I've done on this and looking at sort of like both academic research and then interest group research and then research from the metal detector companies that are trying to sell us metal detectors, there's not very conclusive data to suggest that metal detectors achieve this desired outcome. And I would say that the research that I've been able to find is pretty dated, probably like 2010, 2012 timeframe, and there's not really any current research post-COVID or return to COVID that I've been presented with. So I think I would be supportive of a pilot if we could add an amendment to any proposal to include an RFQ or an RFP for a third-party academic evaluator to help us really determine if the pilot is successful, and then also sort of look at the pilot as it's currently laid out to see if we need to make any changes to make it meet a rigorous academic standard that we could then say, yes, this definitively works or it doesn't work, and we can share that with other districts as they consider using money that's meant for education for security.
Do you have something before I go? You want to go first? Okay.
Yes. I agree with most of what Member Marquez said, President Ross and Superintendent, but I think a better, more substantial measure would be to have people that specialize in school security, not just, academia, people that actually have seen it work, and have them come in and advise us and tell us how these measures are going to affect our school safety.
So I want to make sure I understand. Because it sounded like you said you would be open to a motion if we had a third party, and I heard your specific parameters around a third party, create the part I'm confused on. Do we want the third party to create a whole new assessment, or to let me word it differently. Are you saying that you're okay, like if we move forward as is, but then we bring in a third party to like kind of say, hey, let's change this, so build it the plane as you're flying kind of thing? Or are you saying, will you clarify? I don't want to put words in your mouth, please.
Yeah, I mean, so since we've all ran for office before, like I'll use, an example in political campaigns. Like if you think you have the best, message, you poll test that message, you focus group that message, and then you work with, organizations like the Analyst Institute to see during the election if your experiment worked or not. Did it increase voter turnout amongst a certain population group? And and the campaigns themselves, can do internal evaluation, but that internal evaluation is not really seen as something you can go out and share with the wider campaign community or funder community to say, yes, our experiment worked. It increased voter turnout amongst this population. And so I think the school safety, the school security team here in Phoenix Union has put together a very good proposal for a pilot. I think I heard during public comment, maybe the pilot isn't long enough. Maybe it should be a semester-long pilot instead of 9 to 12-week pilot before we roll it out to the remainder of the district. But I think having that third-party evaluator to help us design the experiment, what do we want it to achieve? Did it achieve the thing we wanted it to achieve? And I would be open to hearing suggestions from Board Member Oliver about who are the school safety experts or security experts, whether it's people that designed it for the Diamondbacks or people that designed systems for the airports, TSA. Do we bring groups like that into the experiment or the pilot as well? So I would support a motion that said we can do a pilot that maybe utilizes the month of November to issue an RFP or an RFQ to identify an academic evaluation partner, and then start the pilot in January and let it run through a semester before we roll it out for the entire district.
Clerk Napa.
One of the things that I heard in public comment, and I don't think I explicitly see in the proposal, is a determination or a clear link between using metal detectors and reducing the presence of firearms, reducing expulsion, and increasing attendance and fostering a perception of safety. I know in Goal 3, we talk about perception of safety. Goal 2, we talk about using synergy to measure attendance. But really, the measuring of decreasing firearms and reducing expulsion, I did hear, I want to say Camelback principal talk about using metal detectors as a deterrent for long-term suspensions and expulsions. I would be interested in seeing that data, how that data is reflected in the pilot.
Any other, Member Hernandez, you have any thoughts?
Yes,
Besides
how
what
did you know?
Okay.
I guess, one more thought that I think I had, thank you, President Ross. I had mentioned this, I think in the previous board meeting, that one of my concerns was around tardiness, and I, just looking back at the communication piece, I missed a part on will we be communicating with parents and letting them know that they need to arrive early while the pilot phase starts, or will we be more lenient with tardiness and have that conversation with the teachers and staff?
Yeah, thank you for that question. I would imagine, especially as we're getting started, we're probably going to need to do both until we hit a rhythm and we really understand. Obviously, the goal is that it doesn't take a long time and that we're not creating an unnecessary situation for students to be tardy. But initially, it's going to take some time. Everybody's learning, right? And so we'll need to be more lenient, and if parents could work with us as well to have students arrive earlier, that would be fabulous.
And if I could add to that, President Ross, Member Hernandez, that's where the training also comes in, right, to make sure that our administrators, our safety staff are well equipped to manage those lines and that process efficiently. So training on that ahead of the implementation is key.
And Ms. Tejas and Mr. Corio, do you have any feedback or responses to anything that has been put forth by the members? I didn't give you a chance to answer any of those statements that they put out. I forgot to check in with you.
Oh, no, thank you.
Okay.
I appreciate it.
Okay. Member Austin? Member Austin, do you have something?
Yes, Madam President, I'd like to make a motion that we move forward with the pilot program.
A motion has been made by Member Austin. I will second that motion. I'm feeling like we're gonna need to do a roll call on this one. A motion to move forward with the pilot has been made by Member Austin, second by President Ross. I'm going to do roll call, starting furthest away from me. Oh, any discussion? Thank you. Yes.
Does this motion take the proposal as is or take into consideration the questions that we had?
It can, the way she posed it, it is as is, but we can amend it to take into consideration.
Yeah, I would like to amend to specifically include in the analysis the reduction of firearms data and then also reducing expulsion information.
Reduction of firearms, what was the second one?
Reducing expulsion.
Thank you. Member Austin, will you accept the amendment of moving forward with the pilot while also assessing for the reduction of firearms and the reduction of expulsion? Yes, I also accept that amendment. So we have a motion on the floor by Member Austin, seconded by President Ross. I'm still going to do roll call. Member Oliver, yeah, okay, 1 second. Yes, yes.
Can I offer an amendment?
Do we? Okay, yes, yes.
I would ask Senator Olson that you consider an amendment to add a third-party evaluator for our pilot as well as a condition of the pilot. I'd like to add a third-party academic evaluator for our pilot that you would consider adding to your motion.
Can you, I need 1 second before you respond, because I need clarification. Oh, Lord. So we're moving forward, right? And the person we've discussed at Grand Canyon is on sabbatical. So the third party would help us analyze the data. Is this what you're saying? I want to be clear so that when we move forward, we don't have any problem.
I guess the motion would be not to take a month pause and bring this back in December, but to pass it tonight, but give the district time to do an RFP or an RFQ for an academic evaluator. And it doesn't have to be who we've worked with in the past. We've worked with other folks at ASU, and there's other researchers out there that are studying school safety and gun violence prevention in schools. It could be a national, give the district time for an RFQ or RFP to weigh in on the design of our pilot.
Would the RFQ or RFP be issued concurrently with the project moving forward? So the pilot moves forward.
That's what I'm trying- thank you. That is
so
what
the
I was
pilot
asking,
moves
Lynn. Thank you.
forward while the RFQ, because obviously the data study gets done at the end. I think you need to clarify that.
That's
for
what. Thank you, Lynn.
Ms.
That's what I
Alston.
was trying to ask. Thank you.
I guess my recommendation would be that the RFQ is sort of a two-step process. So we have the month of November to find, a researcher that could participate in this, and then make sure the design of the pilot would meet an academic standard that they could provide us with a report, so that really the pilot would start either December or January instead of right away.
Okay, I got it. So how are you open to, and I know it's on the floor now, are you open to, as it's on the floor, we're moving forward and we can currently look for an academic, which you and I have to talk about why they have to be from academia, an academic person to help develop it. I lost my train of thought. And then, okay, and so if we get them, so we're moving forward, and then they're like, oh, the assessment is fine that you have, or you can add this question and take this question, and then we extend the pilot. Are you open to that? Yes, Lynn.
Just another option is to move forward with the amended motion that you have, and then Mr. Marquez could make a separate motion to go ahead and issue an RFQ to aid with data collection on the back end.
That's a good idea. Thank you, Lynn.
So at least you could find out whether the amended motion that you currently have is going to pass or not.
Thank you, Lynn. So on the floor is the motion to move forward with the pilot. Yes, ma'am. Oh, we didn't vote yet. Sorry, I thought you.
Voting?
No, ma'am. I mean, yes. I'm just recapping. But yes, ma'am, we are voting. With adding the reduction of firearms and the reduction of expulsions. And I'm going to do roll call vote. Member Hernandez, how do you vote?
Can I abstain?
I can't stop you from abstaining.
I abstain.
Madam President?
Yes, ma'am.
Are we voting just on my motion with
Yes, ma'am.
Ms.
Yes.
Napa's?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
It got a little confusing in there.
It did.
So
yes.
I
it
want to
did.
know what I'm voting on.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes. Member Oliver, how are you voting?
Yes.
Mr. Marquez, how are you voting?
Can I explain my vote?
Yes.
Yeah, I think the order is reversed here. So I would vote for the pilot if we first approve the academic evaluation, but I'm not going to vote. So I'm going to vote no.
Okay.
But open to if this doesn't pass to entertaining a second motion to do it with the academic evaluation.
Thank you. Clerk Napa?
Yes.
And I am also a yes, the motion passes.
So can we make the motion now?
Yes, you can.
Okay. So I would make another motion that we ask the district to put out an RFP or an RFQ for an external evaluator of the pilot as just passed. And President Ross, it doesn't necessarily have to be an academic evaluator, but I think when I think of what would be helpful is some sort of peer-reviewed study of did our experiment work or not. And it doesn't have to be from academia. I think there's other researchers that do this type of work that could be free to apply for that RFP or RFQ.
I love that. I want you to be as specific as possible because in the past we have been vague, and then when things have come down, it's gotten all not great. So please, if you want an academic, a person from academia, that is what you want, and just be, because if you're like, it can be anybody, then when it gets down to exec team, they're gonna get whoever, and then you're gonna be like, I don't like that. Not you, just anyone could say, I don't like that person. So let's be as specific as possible so that we can move forward as smoothly as possible. Please, sir.
So specifically, the motion would be to ask the district to put out an RFQ or an RFP for a third-party evaluator of our pilot that meets a rigorous academic standard.
Okay. I will second your motion. A motion has been made by Member Marquez, seconded by President Ross. All those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
That's 3. All those opposed indicate by saying nay. Are you yes or no? He wants, so you're no? Okay, so that's 1 no. 2. Okay, so the motion carries, so you got it. So it carries. Good job. The next item on the agenda is 12B, discussion of governing board professional development process with potential action. Ms. Andrade.
Yes, thank you, President Ross, members of the board. Back in July, we had a governing board retreat where we had the Council of Great City Schools come and present their student outcome governance model. Then again, in October, at our first quarter retreat, we heard from school board partners around their governance model, which was similar, but yet a little different. And so we are at a point right now where some decisions need to be made, and I wanted to clear some space for that conversation, whether that be moving forward with an RFQ for professional development services, or whether or not we want to decide on a direction tonight so that goals and next steps can be established or paused. This is your professional development, and I just wanted to make sure we had the space to have this conversation. I think it's important for your leadership and our movement as a district. So with that said, I'm going to turn it over to President Ross.
Members, I want us to have a discussion about how we want to move forward. We can tonight make a decision to go with XYZ and be done, or we can put out a request and see who sends in proposals and go from there. As Ms. Andrade said, we've heard from two. So if you are leaning toward one, which I am leaning toward one over the other, we can discuss that. And that's what I have, members, discussion on how we want to move forward with our professional development. Yes.
President Ross, I'd like to add a third fly in that ointment.
Tell me.
Perhaps we do, well, it's kind of maybe not a third fly, but if we do an RFQ, then we get other other vendors coming in, and that may coincide with our superintendent search and give the permanent superintendent, a look at that as well, instead of making a decision tonight on one of the two.
That makes sense. That makes sense. And, okay, so how do I want to word this? That also depends on the approach of the vendor. Okay, I hear you. Any other thoughts, members, about if we want to do an RFQ? My thought is, yes, ma'am.
I'm just wondering about timeline and what the potential budget would be. Is that something that we can discuss now?
So it's up to us, essentially. If we move forward tonight, we could, my thought was that if we move forward tonight with my favorite choice, we could get started, and the overlap between this and the superintendent search wouldn't be overwhelming because we've already gotten started, versus the whole process of the RFQ, and then that's going to run right alongside with the superintendent search, and it's going to be a lot. And I don't know the budget. Less than 100,000, right? Yeah, so less than 100,000. Any other thoughts or questions, members?
If I can, President
Yes.
Ross, if we were to select the council, we are members of the council, a little bit more of an investment though, 3-year, but a reduced rate for being a member. The other option, I know we could RFP, but there are kind of chunks of services that you can go out for, so it doesn't have to be, this 5-year vision or 3-year vision. But again, both are very affordable. One, I think, a little less from a time perspective. It can be as needed.
So members, are any of you leaning toward one of the two we've already heard from? Yes. You are, no, sir. No, sir.
Can I make a comment? Yeah. I just wanted to disclose to the public that I participated in the School Board
Okay.
Partners Fellowship.
Okay.
And I was a scholarship participant of that fellowship, so I went on some travel and won't vote on any motions related to School Board Partners, but just wanted to make sure that was on the record.
Thank you for clarifying. You scared me for a moment. Thank you for clarifying that. Members, I'm just going to be transparent. I am actually leaning toward the council. I would want to go with the council. I enjoyed their presentation. I enjoyed that retreat or workshop that we did. And if we went with the council, we could get started. And like I said, not like try to figure this out while trying to go through the process of the superintendent search. I'm so glad Mr. Marquez can't give his 2 cents right now. You cannot, sir. You cannot. But I would love to hear you all's thoughts about, are you opposed to us moving forward? Because we are a member, so we would not have to do an RFQ with them. We could just get started with them without doing an RFQ. But I would like to hear you all's thoughts about moving forward with the council, if you are for it or against it. Clerk Napa, I know you, we've discussed this a little bit. I would love to hear from you, please.
Can I have the full name? You're referring to it, just the council? AJ, okay. But what's the full name of it? It's Council for Great Schools. We did discuss this at the retreat, and my concern was we didn't have a proposal so much as versus a workshop. And, you know, coming in for a workshop is different from, you know, presenting curriculum for professional development. Making an investment under $100,000, I still feel like I need to see both proposals and what they actually are.
So you want to move forward with an RFQ, it sounds like. Okay. Do you have a thought? Member Austin? Okay. Ms. Oliver?
I'm in line with Clerk Napa.
Okay.
I'd like to do the RFQ.
Clerk Napa, you want to do a motion?
I motion to RFQ for professional
board.
development.
Yep. I will second that. All those in favor? Aye. All those opposed? Can we vote with Aaron gone? Oh, yeah, because he can't vote. That's right. All those opposed? All right, and I'm assuming Mr. Marquez is abstaining. So the motion passes. We will do an RFQ for board professional development.
And just for the minutes, we should note that Mr. Marquez was abstaining based on a conflict of interest, so that it's clear that. And if someone wants to go get him so he can rejoin us.
Before I go on. Yes, will you get him, please? Thank you. The next item is 12C, discussion of superintendent search process and updates with potential action. Mr. Lopez, our Chief Development Officer, will provide us with an update on the superintendent search firm selection. Mr. Lopez.
Yes, thank you. Good evening, President Ross, Superintendent Andrade, members of the governing board, executive team, staff, parents, community members, and students, if you are still with us. Thank you for this opportunity to provide you with an update on the RFQ for selection of a search firm that will work closely with you, governing board, as you begin the process for the selection of our permanent superintendent. The committee members that participated in the review of proposals and presentations were our President Ross, Board Member Oliver, Board Member Marquez, Chief Financial Officer Sherry Salaya, and myself, Juvenal Lopez, the Chief Development Officer. Thank you to our Procurement Director, Ms. Lila McCleary, for guiding us through the entire process. The committee recommended and selected Hazard Young Atea Associates to do this important work. This evening, members of Hazard Young Atea Associates are in attendance, and President Ross, with your approval, I would like to invite Dr. Christine McDuffie to come to the podium and introduce members of her team. Thank you.
Yes, please. Please join us at the podium.
Good evening. Thank you so much for the opportunity to be here, and we are honored to have been selected to work with you on this very important decision ahead of you. I'm Chris McDuffie with HYA, and my colleague John Bash is here with us as well. And our third member of our search team, Carmela Franco, could not join us tonight, but she will be in the community early next week. And we're excited to work with all of you. Your team thus far have been so positive and professional, and we really appreciate it. We put together just a very quick, high-level briefing for you for tonight. We know you've had a long night. And we really look forward to finding time soon to meet with each of you individually and then hopefully collectively soon to get some further direction from the board. But in your packet, real quick again, the first sheet is just an overview of your search team, the three of us, a little bit about our background. We bring to you over 100 years of experience in public education. We won't talk about how we do the math there. And so just a quick overview about who you will be working with primarily through HYA.
Thank you. And following that page in your briefing, you see a graphic that includes what we refer to as HYA's signature search process. And again, I know that you've had a long meeting already, so I'm not going to read the chart to you, but I want to call out 4 phases. Our engagement phase, and we understand, based on the research we've already done and the engagement we've had with your committee, how important it is here in your district to have people engaged. In fact, we heard public comments tonight around the importance of making sure folks feel involved and engaged and listened to throughout this process. That's part of our signature process. And along with that, there's an overlapping phase, the recruitment phase, that goes on not only during the engagement, but into the select phase, which is phase 3, followed by a selection decision that you all make, and then what we call transition, where we, again, collaborate with you around the transition activities you feel would fit best with the new leader here in your district.
And the third item in your packet is just a very initial attempt at a timeline for you to take a look at. We will be working obviously with the team here as well. We looked at your currently scheduled board meetings to see if we could align with those as best we could to hopefully limit the number of special meetings that you may need for this journey that we're on together. So this is very much a rough draft, and we look forward to talking with you further about that in the coming days.
We did include topics that are typically included with any district we work with as we launch a planning meeting. In some districts, this conversation occurs with the entire board via special meeting. In other districts, usually larger districts, sometimes that planning work is delegated to a committee. And so we'll be seeking clarification here right out of the gate regarding how your board and your district would like us to proceed in terms of these very important planning tasks that need to happen early on so we know how to navigate consistent with your expectations.
And back to the timeline, just very quickly, I just wanted to mention, again, commend you for getting out as early as possible. You are in a very competitive advantage. We talk about 3 waves of superintendent searches. You're certainly in the first wave. So very competitive advantage, and this is very doable within the next few months. And just draw your attention to proposed timeline for selection being mid-February, board action possibly by end of February would be wonderful. And then the final item in your packet is really your communications team may want to take this on and make it look a little bit more presentable. We'll work with them, but this was our chance to get something in front of you to think about, representing your community and your incredible school system you have. that would be a recruiting tool that we could start to use just as soon as possible. So this would be like a position announcement, job announcement. So it's very much a draft, and we wanted to give you just a high-level overview for tonight. We thank you for adding us to the agenda and the chance for us to meet you in person. And so thank you very much. We're open to questions if that's appropriate.
Thank you for flying out. Members, do you have any questions? No? Thank you both. We'll be talking to you soon. Members, a couple of things as noted by the consultants. We need to discuss whether or not we want to keep the existing committee as is. Do we want to work with the firm directly? So do we want the same 3 people who are on the committee now to be the people who work directly with the firm? Do we want to alternate people on that committee and keep it at 3 but switch up people? Or do we want the firm to be in contact with everyone together? Does that make sense? Want me to say it again? Jennifer, tell me. Okay. So so when it comes to the firm and the process of so the first part was the 3 of us picking them, and now it's working with them as the next part. And so do we want the same 3 people to work directly with them? Do we want 3 different people to work directly with them? Or do we want the entire board to work directly with, they're not called Haya, but when I see that, my brain says Haya, to work with Haya? Yes.
If we want the board, everyone to work with them, what would that look like? Because there
More
would
availability. Yeah, so if you can look at her, at their proposed timeline. So it's not just gonna be board meetings?
It's gonna be like study sessions almost.
Yeah.
Okay. That's a big decision.
And then we also can talk about timelines as the board, working with them on more specific timelines, or if there's things that aren't on here, or does that make sense? But this is a good starting point for a timeline, a good outline, I should say. Yes, Mr. Marquez.
And I don't know if it's appropriate to call back the folks from Hazard Young and Atia to give us a better sense of like what the point people from the board, responsibilities are, or how it's worked in other districts they've worked with. I think when I look at this timeline, interview board members, staff, community representatives, I think, that makes sense that, all 7 of us should, be interviewed and give our 2 cents on, what we think this candidate profile should look like. But, maybe there's other things that they can highlight on this calendar where it might be helpful to have, 3 or 4 of us as a committee to help them, navigate the district.
I agree with you, Member Marquez. Mr. Bash stated that in the past he's had experience with them working with the whole board unless it's a really big district, and then they've done committees. And so I think that it would be good for the whole board, but I can't dictate you all's timeline. And so that's what it comes down to, your availability to participate in this. And they try to align it with most of our board meetings, but as you see, there's 3 meetings in January, 2 in November, so it's not going to always align with board meet. There are additional meetings that need to happen. So ideally, I think that it would be great to work with the entire board, but again, I don't know everyone's availability. Does that make sense?
I think looking at the first activity on their timeline, it says planning meeting with the board. Is that tonight, or is that another meeting before
We
November 13th?
set the date. That's the next thing we talk about. That's item 2.
Okay. So I think knowing if all 7 of us want to be there or just a few of us, I think it's helpful.
Yeah, exactly. Yep. That's what yep, exactly, Mr. Marquez. That's what we're discussing now, if it's all 7 of us or just 3 of us. Member Hernandez?
The idea of all of us.
Say it again?
I like the idea of all of us being
I do too. Member Austin, do you want to participate in the superintendent search with the firm that we've, yes? Clerk Napa? Okay, it sounds like it's going to be all of us. You get to tolerate 7 different personalities. Are you ready for that? All right, that sounds good. All right, so that's the first one. So it's going to be everyone. And then the second one is we need to talk about a date. So get your calendars out, people, for this initial meeting with the superintendent firm, search firm. And if I could have our representatives from Hazard Young to come up, please, so that we can coordinate calendars, please. Thank you so much. All right. Are you all here for a while, or do you leave and come back?
We're open.
Okay, okay.
We did propose the 13th because it happened to work for the three
The
of us. We
13th.
weren't sure if that got in front of
Monday
you
the
yet or
13th.
not.
It did not. It did not.
I didn't know.
Does the 13th work? Why do I keep touching this microphone? Does the 13th?
For the
I
planning
told you, are you ready
meeting,
for these 7 different personalities?
Yes, absolutely. Again, we appreciate all 7 board members being willing to participate. That's our preference, obviously. That first planning meeting is typically 90 minutes or so, no more than 2 hours.
Okay. And then I think I want to, it looks like if they are during the week, which they usually are, we have some members who work a traditional 9 to 5, and so it would have to be in the evening. Clerk Napa?
Never mind.
Okay.
It's been answered.
Okay. So back to the 13th. If we could do, what is the earliest, whoever works traditional 9 to 5, what is the earliest, and they would be here at the district, because that is the best place for it. What is the
I
earliest?
think that's me. 3:30, 4, that's.
Oh, that's true.
flexible.
Virtual too as well. I forgot about that. We could also, you can participate
Oh,
virtually.
I can join virtual too?
Yeah, I totally
Okay,
forgot
if
about that.
virtual, I think 3:30, same time. Yeah.
What time did you say?
3:30.
Oh, that's earlier than I thought you were gonna say. Members, does 3:30 on the 13th work for everyone? Got 1 thumbs up? You'll have to check, okay. Your assistant, excuse me, madam. Your assistant has to tell you, excuse me, madam. Clerk Napa, does it work for you? Mr. Marquez, does it work for you? So, board assistant and everyone, we are on the books for the 13th at 3:30. Ooh, okay. What? Go ahead.
I remember what my question is. Is this going to be a public meeting, or is it just meeting
Public.
with? Okay, thank you.
It's public. Do we need a motion? I don't think, it's not in here as a, is that in these?
You could take an action if you wanted to. You could vote. I think taking an action to have all of you participating as opposed to a subcommittee might be a good idea. So make a motion.
Okay.
It doesn't need to be at the specific date and time, but just that all of you will be participating.
Okay. I motion that every member of this board participate with Hazard Young and Atea during this superintendent search process. A motion's been made by President Ross, seconded by Member Hernandez. All in favor, please indicate by saying aye. All those opposed, please indicate by saying nay. Motion carries. And we are also set for the 13th at 3:30. Thank you. The next item is 12D, approval of the new governing board policy on first reading, KEE, public concerns, complaints about contracted safety services and law enforcement. Is there a motion to approve the new governing board policy on first reading? Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. I will second that. Motion has been made by Member Austin, seconded by President Ross. On that motion, all those in favor, please indicate by saying aye. All those opposed, please indicate by saying nay. Motion carries. Item 13A, next meeting, the next regular meeting of the governing board is scheduled for Thursday, December 7th at 6 p.m. in this location. Item 13B, request for future agenda items. Members, are there any items you would like to recommend to be considered for future agenda items? Member Oliver.
Yes, President Ross, Superintendent Andrade. I'd like to have Superintendent Andrade in her report speak to us about the bell schedule changes.
Any other items? Mr. Marquez, I see you getting your microphone.
Yeah, I'll just reiterate my request for December that we have a conversation that looks at sort of mid-year budget review along with the latest school letter grades to see if there's any budget tweaks we'd make for the second half of the school year based on school letter grades.
Thank you. Clerk Napa.
I would like a review of athletic. How am I going to put this? I'm aware of a situation at Camelback High School. I would like to know how that was handled and how the policies around that Title IX issue, what the procedure is for a situation like that.
Okay, President Ross and Clerk Napa, I would just say it's currently under investigation, so I won't be able to, I can give you the Title IX procedures,
Yes,
if
that's what I'm
you need.
asking for. Yeah,
Okay.
I don't need to know the particulars of this situation, but when it involves multiple students
Absolutely.
and a culture, I am interested in how that's handled and how it is corrected.
Thank you.
Member Hernandez.
Yeah, two things. I don't know how to go about this, but earlier there was a few students that came in to talk about a request for Asian American Pacific Islander studies. If we can bring that or however that works, I'm not sure. But yeah, I just want to add that to our agenda. And then the other part was just to clarify, will we have a superintendent update at every board meeting?
That was going to be my item that I was gonna, but you can go ahead and, so you're phrasing it as a question, but you can say that's what you want.
Yes, that's.
And then
that's
you'll
what I
save
would
me from
want.
talking. Okay, awesome. Having done that, I don't have anything else to say, so let's get us out of here. Item 13C, motion to adjourn. Having concluded our business, is there a motion to adjourn? Is there a second? Motion's been made by Member Oliver, second by Member Hernandez. All those in favor, please indicate by saying aye. All those opposed, please indicate by saying nay. We are adjourned.